Oh, hey guys. Okay, welcome to the live. You guys, so sorry, but I really needed a nap after work today. But Charmaine, she says she's driving in the chat. I know there's a lot of stuff going on today. Kent, I got Kent with me today, or actually with me. Last time it obviously was a StreamYard air. But hey, Kent, how are you?
Not bad, Sonny. How are you?
Good, good, good. So, so just let me say this. Okay, so I want to first give a shout out to, I know Joseph Morris was showing the stuff from last night, and you said another channel was. Can you say that channel again?
Yeah, True Crime, the morning show, and I believe the host's name, they call him the dog, DAWG.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So anyway, so I had sent Derwood a message prior to me going for my nap, and said a couple things, and then I woke up, and then about 45 minutes prior, he said, "I want on tonight's live, or I want on your next live." Da 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 da. So I'm messaging him back, and then as I'm messaging him, I'm hearing everyone say that he's on Clutch Them Pearls, Justin over there, and I was like, so anyways, and apparently I guess the phone died or something. Now I did call his phone number and leave him a message, but I like, so I'll just wait and see if like, if he does call in, because
I
he
see
wanted.
Angels. Angels is saying that he's back on.
Wow.
Welcome.
Is he?
Derwood didn't get a warm welcome on. Oh, she said he didn't get a warm welcome on Clutch Them Pearls. Yeah, I think it was just Justin trying to catch up on the story.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, you know what? I always believe it is what it is, type of idea. So it is what it is. And if Derwood happens to call, into this channel tonight, like you wanted to, I think, you know, uh, he only has just by the way, he only has like a flip phone, and it's not like he has. So the only connection was through either calling in, like you did on Dolly. So whatever. All I can say, you guys, is welcome to this live. Um, there is a couple text messages that Belinda has sent me that she's allowed me to share as well between her and Malaya as of on Tuesday. That just went by here. Okay, so today's obviously Thursday. And other than that, in just a little bit here, Kent's gonna, you know, talk about what he was talking about on Clutch Them Pearls, Justin over there. So, anyways, I just want to say, you guys, thank you. Welcome to the live. Also, thank you, Ashley, for the taco coffee that I seen that you sent in my email there. Um, and so, yeah, so I guess there's an article as well. There's the interview. There's a 150K reward, and that's the one I was talking about. Belinda had told me, but I didn't tell you where that had come from. Besides Belinda, so probably, I guess, I think I could say that. So it was Malaya that told her that a reward would be coming out, and that's how I knew. And then obviously we saw that today, which is good because whenever there's like a missing case, and after so long, then they go to the 150K reward pile, and you'll see like a list of missing people with 150K. So it's nice to see that that's out there. But by the same token, obviously that means to me that they're needing someone to come forward with information and stuff like that, as they're working diligently as best as they can on the case. But, still thought that this would have been solved by now, like that the answers would have come. Didn't you, Kent?
Well, um, yes, but this is a weird story. And I just think that it's getting weirder by the day.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong,
it is getting weird.
that either one of these, if this story is concluded the way that half of this stuff is true,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it's at the point now that there'll have to be some deep development on both parents, or else the kids won't be in their care. They'll be in care of somebody else, and they'll have visitation and what else. I don't think they will be right back home in this situation.
Right. What starts off is what you think is about two children that are going to be found within probably a couple hours, turns in this wild circus riding. Shit's lying. You know that people are lying in this one, and you knew, like, at least I have always felt right from the start. I've been flip flopping like a fish between Daniel and Malaya, because I never felt like that both of them, meaning after you start the case starts going on, then it just seemed odd, because usually two people would stick like glue, like flies to shit, if if in fact they were both doing something together. Basically with Daniel, you see someone drooling still that needs a bib over Malaya. Sorry, Daniel, but it's true. It's about Jack and Lily. So that's what we have to hit that like and the share for, guys, because this is about Jack and Lily first and foremost, okay? And then, other than that, family afterwards. I'm glad, regardless. I don't care what channel it's happening on. I'm glad that information is coming out, regardless if you believe it's true or not. Right? Its bottom line is, if family's talking, you should be listening. Right? And then you take those details and you see where it meshes, where it doesn't mesh, and basically, bottom line is, you become your own little internet sleuth yourself and determine what you feel like happened to these children. If you feel like that they were abducted by a stranger, I don't believe so. Or if they're in the woods, definitely not. Or if there was family involvement here. And there's clearly lying going on. Do you not see this? Like, obviously, regardless.
Well, like I say, my story up until yesterday, I can honestly say that I honestly believe that it was an accident with one, and in my opinion, and the other one, because of Daniel's first interview when he said that the kids were more like best friends rather than brother and sister.
I remember that.
And we all know the kids say the darndest things
They
at the
do.
darndest time.
They do.
And I believe that the other kid, whatever happened to it, had to go to cover that up for the self preservation and whatnot. After listening to Derwood, and then whether you believe these family members are telling us 100% truth or their truth,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's at least 50% true.
Right.
And you can actually see the situation where we learned last night about Malaya being felt that she was trapped in such a situation. And everybody says, well, why would she do that? These two kids aren't Daniel's. No, but it's hard for one person to carry three kids at one time to get them out of there quick, that without being noticed. So if she had help from other family members and whatnot, or friends or whoever was the help, if she was able to get rid of the two kids that was not Daniel's out of this situation, and when I say rid, I'm not talking about harm to the kids here, folks. I'm just saying get them out of that situation. Then that leaves her with Meadow and the baby. So if you listen to what Derwood said, and they got the kids into the vehicle at the road, and when she turned around after that vehicle had left, and all of a sudden Daniel's mother comes out of the motorhome because she heard the commotion and she woke up, and that's the when Malaya had to look, and she was on her phone because she was probably texting somebody, okay, the other two are gone, I'm going to be a few more minutes and I'm out of here. But when she turned around, Jeannie was there. So then she had to come up, okay, well, what am I doing here? This is like 5 or 5:30 in the morning. Being out at the end of the driveway is not a good thing. So she had to come up with a story for that. And then they go back in and Daniel gets up. So then she had to cover that story. And then you get, I think, or I believed that she might have been going to come up with the story that the kids were missing. And then when she knew that Daniel would go looking, and when Daniel left, she would hop in the car and take Meadow, and away she'd go. She'd be out of there. But
Right.
she wasn't counting, and we've all been told by different people, she wasn't counting on Jeannie to be home. So then she had to wait around. She
Janie.
couldn't, yeah, Jeannie.
Janie.
She couldn't, what?
Janie. Janie.
Janie, or, yeah, Daniel's mother. She had to wait around. And then I don't think, and I said this from the start when I thought it was both of them, completely 100%. I
Yeah.
don't think they thought that the dogs and the searchers and the drones and stuff would be all on the case as soon as they were. But those things were already in the county on that kayaker search. So as soon as the call came in for 2 missing kids, they already found the kayak that later that day before. They were looking for what they were expecting to be the kayakers' remains. So everything left that search in another part of the county as soon as they got the call for the kids missing,
Yeah.
and went to start looking for kids. 2 helicopters and the dive team stayed behind because where they found the kayak, they were expecting the remains to be found in the water. So they stayed, 2 helicopters and the dive team stayed behind. At 4 p.m. on Friday, sadly, they found the kayaker's remains, a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
And so then the other 2 helicopters, and then Saturday morning, the dive team went and joined the search for the missing kids. If they weren't already in the county and it was only the Pictou County search team that was able to get on site quick, that probably would have happened by, say, 2 or 3 o'clock Friday afternoon for Pictou County's team. But as it was, the 150 or 100 and so of those searchers was already here. They went over on the search and they were all there within an hour and a half, probably 2 hours. So now, like Derwood was telling us, is it just kept steamrolling, and Malaya couldn't get out and couldn't get out. You don't say, yes, I'm from Pictou, for anybody that don't
Yeah.
know.
I was going to say,
About 20 minutes from Lansdowne.
okay. Yeah. I was just going to say that because you know what? Probably started off bad on that one because, sometimes when you know already who somebody is. So you guys, obviously I'm from West Coast of Canada in Vancouver. Charmaine's from British Columbia as well, and Alberta, and she's in Alberta or BC right now. Kent is from Pictou. So Kent is very, up to date with this case. Again, from the area and stuff like that. Obviously, Derwood. So just to make this clear, Derwood. So Malaya's grandmother, Patty, Derwood is like, I believe it's like the second cousin of Patty to Patty. Okay, it's not Malaya's cousin. It would be right. It's the grandmother's cousin, Derwood. So again, just to be clear on that, guys. So yeah, that's who's talking is Kent right now. Okay, Charmaine, she's just too busy on the road driving and stuff like that. And Charmaine, I did send you the link, by the way. Anyways, just to clear that up because I noticed that it keeps getting messed up a little bit there. Okay, so sorry, Kent, go on. My bad.
So yeah, so that's basically where I think that the story got out of hand on her, and it just kept, because everybody is asking, well, it's been 6 weeks. Why didn't she come clean and say that she just needed to get out of there and the situation would be done? And I guess we all ask that question.
Yeah.
Is why keep the lie going? It's harder to remember the lies to keep telling the story than it is to finally come out and break out the truth. But I think these family members that are speaking are finally putting some pressure on the situation, and the situation seems to be steamrolling, and hopefully like with the 150,000 out there today.
Yeah.
Um, Hopefully somebody speaks up. Um,
Well, I love
so
that they're
like where
talking.
I went from that completely being them both, and I still say that they're both responsible for the situation that we're in. You can't blame one without the other because one is backing up the person from the
Right.
other. I think the
Right.
reasons why they were doing it was different. I think
Yeah.
Daniels was doing it because he was in love with Malaya and
Yes.
didn't want to lose his kid.
Yeah.
And I think Malaya was doing it because she wanted out of the situation because of whether she has the postpartum or isolation or whatever. I do believe that she has depression issues just
Well,
from what we're being told by family. I have no other inclination to judge the girl, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I just wish that her family, or if she's out there and hearing any of these, is listen, we will support you. Like I don't know about everybody in the rest of Canada or the states, but if you come out and you tell the story of what happened, the people I know of Pictou County and probably Nova Scotia will get behind you and help you get the help that you need as long as you didn't take it any further or facilitate, because I don't think either one of them actually did any harm, but facilitate this going on any longer than what it needs to be. Because reporting false crimes is as bad as possibly the crime itself.
right on there. Okay. Um, so we'll get back into that, Ken. And again, thank you guys. If you guys, please always do that. Never for the channel's purpose. Please always do it for the murdered and the missing. And in this case, it's Jack and Lily. So again, do it for the family. And I just want to say again, Belinda has been nothing but a superb grandmother, paternal grandmother of these kids, always messaging me, always like letting me share things, like what she's letting me share today and stuff like that. I love it when family talks, okay? I mean, I don't want to hear the gossip, the drama, and the crap that goes with it. I just really want to hear the facts. And the facts, regardless if it's truth or not, it's just that it's from family or the RCMP. So anytime, like for instance, Daniel had told Charmaine in those in the text messages on Messenger, he had said the same thing that he said in Dolly's thing, where he said, the detectives are going to have my ass for, for saying all this stuff. Well, he said it again in Dolly's last night. But you know what, Daniel, if you truly have an inkling where these kids are, at the end of the day, trust me, the RCMP are always going to say, it's we can't talk about it. It's part of the investigation. Yeah, kiss my ass on that one, okay? They always say that. So you know what? Keep talking. Keep bringing awareness. The awareness is what keeps it out there. And you know what? Like I said, so just tell the story. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
obviously there's going to be certain information, but because we keep seeing these inconsistencies in his stories as well. And you know what? It's because there's lying going on there regardless, okay? If it smells like like shit,
yeah,
probably is because you're telling shit. When it doesn't ring truthful to the ear, it's because you know that there's a crock of shit going on somewhere within the story. But I'm just going to say this for Derwood, thank you for speaking out. For Daniel, thank you for speaking out to wherever you, like I said, we're in Dolly's live. You spoke to Charmaine, blah, blah, blah. Belinda, love you. Thank you so much for always being a fight for Jack and Lily. That's what this means to me. It's for Jack and Lily. And so, you know what? Malaya's butt, put her to the side. Okay. Okay. At the end of the day, it's always about the kids first. If you want to drool over Malaya and you still want to be in love with her, so be it. But do that after that the children are found. Simple as that. It's about Jack and
yeah,
Lily first and foremost. So I get it when someone's so love stricken and stuff like that or whatever, that their whole world is crumbling and he goes from this family to this, and I get it. Okay. Bottom line is there's lying going on. Just speak your truth, cut the bullshit, and just say what you have to say without sometimes, like Derwood. He didn't want to mention somebody's name who he believes perhaps was the driver and stuff like and that or where they are. I get stuff like that, right? You don't necessarily have to say certain things for sure. But you know what? Why don't you tell a story from A to Z instead of like A, W back to C, da 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 da. And then the inconsistencies come out and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, regardless to anyone that's speaking from the family, always know that the trolls will exist, the vampires, the wolves, they'll exist. Who cares, right? You're here to fight for a reason, and Belinda knows this. You're here to fight for a reason. So speak up, be loud, be clear, and just say your piece, and don't worry about all the trolls and people that come along. It's going to happen. It's going to happen regardless. Okay.
Yeah,
So, anyways, so I just want to say how much regardless, I appreciate it when people start voicing. It makes a difference. It keeps the case out there. We know that drama, clearly works. But at the end of the day, I believe in facts and I like dealing with the facts of something and then talk about speculation and stuff like that. But not all this false stuff that people put out there with regard to it. Right.
yeah.
I just don't like to bring that stuff in. But, anyways, so in
So
saying that,
now we're up. We got everybody up to the point that Derwood was wanting to get on somewhere tonight
yeah,
and talk, and hopefully he gets his phone back up and he checks in with Sonny later.
yeah,
But
hopefully.
earlier this evening, he came on Clutch Them Pearls.
Yeah.
Justin was there comparing the two stories, or well, not two stories, but all the different comments that Daniel had made in the last 6 weeks, comparing to when Daniel was on Dolly last night. Now, I see there's some people in here saying that that wasn't Daniel in the chat. I
It
don't know.
was.
It was coming up that it was Daniel.
It was.
So Justin was just comparing the story, and boom, Derwood appeared in the chat. So anybody that was there said, Justin, get Derwood on, bring him up, see what he's got for new news. He gave us a bunch of a story last night on crime and shame, and let's hear what he has to say. So after about 5 minutes of trying to get him connected and whatnot, he finally ended up getting Derwood on the phone, and they talked for a few minutes, and Derwood wasn't as fluent tonight on Justin's, whether he was frustrated with Justin because Justin seemed to be giving a hard time on Daniel.
Mm,
Derwood brung that up. He said, you seem to be awful hard on Daniel without knowing the other side.
yeah.
And so that was all right. So then they got into it, and Justin started asking them questions, and Derwood was having phone problems of connectability, but
Mm,
some of the stuff that he did say, and now this is just secondhand hearsay, people. I'm not saying it's 100% true. It's not my opinion, but in case we don't connect with Derwood later on tonight, I
right.
will let you know what he said before he was lost in that chat.
Yeah.
So, talking to Justin, he said that he was going to be talking to Malaya today, and that Malaya is on, or he believes that she is on the Shibanakity Reserve. Now, that reserve is located just outside of Halifax. Just so that people know, it also has an RCMP detachment right on the reserve. So it's not like the kids are on the reserve hiding out. But what he was saying is he suspects that that's where her lawyer is at, and that's where she ran to when she left her mother's yesterday. Now everybody said, "Oh well," and everybody was in the chat saying, "Well, oh, if she ran, call the RCMP; they'll go and arrest her." Well, the RCMP didn't have anything to do with her being at her mother's. It was the DCS order saying that, okay, if you're going to take the baby and the baby's going to stay with you, we want you at your mother's place under her supervision, and therefore you can keep the baby with you until we go further down this road. And we all know that Derwood told us last night that after he was at that family gathering and let somebody eavesdrop. And then when he was on his way back home, he got the phone call that Malaya had taken off from her mother's place. Well, what she was running from then is she was in violation of the DCS order. So Derwood said that he suspects that Malaya is on the Shubenacadie Reserve, but apparently DCS stepped in today and has taken Meadow. So now Meadow is apparently in DCS's care. And but he was still where he was telling us last night that he was going to try to talk to people to try to get the names of those ones that he thought was in the vehicle. Apparently, he was talking. I don't know if he was talking to family members or what, but he was broken up quite a bit in the chat on Clutch Them Pearls. But
Yeah.
he said that once Malaya, and it's the Brooks part of the family that is on the Shubenacadie Reserve, and once she got there, because the other family members had it set up that Derwood was going to have a phone call with Malaya this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
But this morning, once the Brooks side of the family got around her, and she's good on the reserve, and and I don't know if it was before or after DCS came and took Meadow,
Yeah.
but now Malaya is on lockdown, and she wouldn't return. When Derwood made the call, it went to voicemail, and he wasn't actually able to make that connection with. So that was the biggest thing that he told us in Clutch Them Pearls, other than he was trying to, you can tell that Justin didn't have the story that we had heard on this channel last night, because Justin was asking those questions and trying to get caught up on the story and the details from Derwood about last night, and all the things with the story leading up about the kids being taken off by somebody else, and why would she do that, and everything else. So
Okay. 1 second. 1 second, Ken.
yep.
Okay. First of all, there's 542 people in here watching. Please, I'm going to ask this again. Derwood speaking, Belinda. Please do it for Jack and Lily and hit that like and share. There's 542 people watching and there's only 106 likes. So can you guys please, again, don't do it for the channel. Do it for Jack and Lily. Do it for Belinda. You know, do it for all the people that are fighting for to find out what happened to Jack and Lily. And the only way you can do that is just keep spreading the awareness. So can you please do that for me? Also, I am talking to Derwood in Messenger at the moment. And because I was like, "Are you coming on?" And he's told me, he said he'd like to, and then he just said, "Just hold on." So we know he has like a flip phone or whatever. So I'll wait to see what Derwood has to say there, and hopefully he can join us and tell him himself and have a better connection than he did with Justin. Maybe it was because he went over to the States instead of Canada. Eh? Maybe that was where the deal. Right? It was like, oh, sorry, Justin, getting out. Just kidding. Anyways, so yeah, so if you guys could do that again, please. It's like I said, 154. Love it. You guys just blasted that again. You guys, 546 people in chat. If you guys again just do that like button. Now I do want to show this. Okay, let me stop for a sec there, Kent.
Yep.
Because I really do want to show this. Okay, so this is a text from Tuesday between Malaya and Belinda. Belinda's a paternal grandmother, as you know. So Belinda says, Malaya, can I ask you a question? Why did you stop visiting with the kids? I just thought that you needed time to convince Daniel he had nothing to worry about. I remember you said he thought you were only coming because you wanted to see Cody. Oh, jealousy. Okay, but I don't understand because we invited him to. Now I will go to the next one. There's only the two guys, okay? So screenshot as you want. Um, so Malaya said, he never wanted me to go, and I never knew why he was controlling. Belinda says, why didn't you give us your address? We gladly would have come for visits. Malaya says, he never wanted me to give it. I never wanted to stay there. Like, sorry, Daniel, but on this one, you're sounding controlling by these messages. And then she says, I really wish you would have reached out. We could have done that, and we could, and done what we could to help, is what that would have said. Okay. So this is just recently, as of Tuesday, just as I said, on the first one, it shows you Tuesday, and I think it was like 8:49. So again, bless Belinda. Um, you know what? All anyone really wants to know is, where's Jack and Lily? Where the heck is Jack and Lily in all of this? These are two beautiful children that have been, what? It's the 19th since May 2nd. You know,
It'll be 7 weeks tomorrow.
yeah. Uh, I see Derwood talking. I'm not sure if I'm just seeing him typing, but he hasn't entered yet on there. But absolutely, it'll be 7 weeks tomorrow. So it's you know what? Thank God that Clarabelle was found yesterday. Thank God for miracles like that. And I really do hope a miracle comes out of this case. I truly wish that Belinda and any family member that truly, really cares about Jack and Lily, that they get that miracle too, and that Jack and Lily are hidden, because that would be the best case scenario than the alternative. So I just really hope, just keep speaking up, family. You guys keep speaking up, saying your crap. Who cares? You trust me, you're not gonna ruin shit, okay? You ain't gonna be ruining shit. Um,
Mama Angie, I see Mama Angie's there asking why she ran from her mother's. And I think Derwood tried to tell us last night
yeah.
is he was letting some information that he knew out to the rest of the family. And after he left that get together with family, there was somebody at that meeting that called Malaya and said, listen, Derwood is saying this. He's starting to put two and two together and figuring things out. And she said, well, I'm getting the hell out of
Okay.
here. I'm going to my lawyer.
Okay.
But by doing that, she broke the.
Hey,
Yep.
I'm calling Derwood right now.
Okay.
He says he was trying to get hold of me, but I'm gonna call him back. Okay. So
Okay.
just give me a second here.
Yeah.
Uh, Keypad, recent calls. Well, actually, just go to my keypad. Just 1 second. All right. Thanks, Derwood. Now you can probably hear me right now. 1 second. Okay, so 44020. Right, you guys make sure in chat that you can tell me if you can hear all right, like yesterday. Okay. Okay. Speaker. Let's make sure everything's up. Volume up.
Hello?
Hi, Derwood. How are you?
Oh, holy Jesus, I'm okay. How are you?
All right, I'm good. I heard I took a nap, and I'm so sorry because I know when you answered me, and then everyone's telling me you were on Justin's Clutch Them Pearls, but you know what? Where as long as you're spreading information, that's all that matters to me
Well,
personally.
no, you guys weren't going or anything,
Yeah.
and that there was some people on there saying some stuff about me, and I just wanted, and even that Justin fella, he was really saying a lot of stuff that wasn't right, and I just
Right.
wanted to correct him on a few things.
Yeah.
But anyway, the phone connection was very bad, and I lost him anyway, and couldn't. And I really don't want to talk to him again anyway because I didn't like.
I
He
know.
was more or less arguing with me about what I know,
I'm sorry.
and I mean, if you know something and it's true, and
Yeah.
you're there, and somebody's, so I don't want to argue with anybody, but
I was gonna
I
say,
mean,
I just want to say this from everybody that's watching right now too, um, and for all the Canadians out there, absolutely appreciate this. I heard you didn't get such a warm welcome over there. Dolly Vision and myself appreciate definitely. I can't speak for
yeah,
Justin, but thank
there
you.
was some. Now I got some. This one, what the hell was her name? Um,
Whose name?
and she had Dolly Vision's, my conversation with Dolly Vision on there, and holy Jesus, at the end of it, she said she was sure that I was involved.
Oh.
She said I was the driver that picked the kids up at the side of the road, and that's the only way I know about it. And then she was calling the cops. She was calling the Mounties to report me.
Whatever. Anyway, so go on. I'm just going to let you speak, please. I would love to hear because I didn't
Let
have.
them know that I'm here.
Oh, Kent's with me on the live as well, and you said that you knew him because you're obviously from the area. But go ahead and you just say whatever you want to say because I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Well, wait, are we online now? I don't know.
We are. So just
Are you on YouTube or Facebook?
We're on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, no, I can see you.
Yeah.
Why can't I see you move or anything?
Oh, are you lagging?
Oh, I know, because I had the stop button clicked on. See, I told you I'm a technology dinosaur, and I just proved it again.
It's
really,
all good.
I really am.
Yeah.
And
so yeah, so what was going on today? Go on. Let her rip.
Let me see. Where do I start with this?
The beginning.
Okay. Well, the beginning of the little bit of shit I caused when Malaya took off, where she grabbed the baby and took off from Cindy's place where she was supposed to be under 24-hour supervision by CPS, but not really by CPS. It was their rules. But Cindy was watching her for 12 hours a day, and Cindy's husband Wade was watching her because he works the night shift and Cindy works the day shift. But sometime through the day. Yesterday, I was over talking to some of my people, and I think I might have triggered something by dropping a name that maybe got some people upset. And I think Malaya got a quick call saying that I think some people were pretty surprised that I dropped this name, and it's somebody I sort of suspect of being directly involved. And when I dropped the name, it wasn't 20 minutes later that Malaya grabbed the baby and took off out of Cindy's place and went to the, I'm not going to say ran, she never ran, she drove. She drove to the, everybody's saying she ran, but she got in the car with the baby and took off and went to the reserve in Shubenacadie, and she's there with her family now. But when she left, she broke the CPS contract of 24-hour supervision, and CPS has taken Meadow now.
Okay. And I know somebody's asking in chat what was the name, Joseph Morris, which is a YouTube creator here in Canada as well. But I'm just going to ask, did you want to put out a name or not put out a name?
It's my name?
Pardon? No, I think when you were talking about you dropped a name, but I'm sure that you probably don't want to mention that. I'm sure.
Okay, I've had a real bad day with this.
Yeah,
I've been sick to my stomach for the last few hours over it, and I'll tell you why. I was coming very close. What I needed was proof, concrete proof of who was driving the vehicle that I believe picked the kids up beside the road. In other words, who Malaya handed the kids over to beside the road.
Yeah.
Okay? I believed I know it. And one of them, that's the name I dropped.
Oh, you
and
did?
That's what got everything cooking, right?
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do, now Malaya shut down right from her first interview. I mean, Malaya has talked to no one.
Right.
No one. Through her brother, I gained his trust, and this is true. There's a switch going on here that not only do I want to help Daniel, and Daniel's doing well. Daniel's doing a lot better, and he's really coming through better now. And he's getting his ideas across, and I think Daniel's making mistakes with small facts because he's got so goddamn much in his head, and he knows so much that it's ridiculous. But Daniel's pretty well clean now. I'm 100% sure. I mean, him and Malaya were having social problems as a couple has, but he has nothing to do with the abduction. Nothing.
Right.
So, and as far as the relationship between him and Malaya, I do not step in between another man and a woman. If anything was going on in amongst the family, that was, as long as the kids weren't getting hurt, I have nothing to say about it, because it was Malaya's choice to stay there, and it was Daniel's choice to stay there. And as far as I'm concerned, they had a good relationship for quite a while. But anyway,
yeah. So Yeah, so yeah, well, you were talking about basically you dropped a name and all this commotion started. Malaya took off in a car, and you
No,
put
I can't prove that the name I dropped. I
right,
can't prove that, but I
right.
don't see any other reason.
Hmm.
You know, and
Is
by
this
the
a
way, the person.
relative? Go ahead.
Yes, Hayden, the 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 half brother,
Oh,
the
Hayden.
yeah.
Mm.
And he's a nice little fella. He's not a bad little fella at all. He's pretty mixed up. Like he's got a lot of feelings about the whole situation, and I might as well not get into that.
Yeah,
But he helped me. I gained his trust,
yeah,
and I convinced him that I want to help Malaya. And I got to remind myself there's something I want to say about Malaya here too.
sure.
Um, um, so he helped me get in contact with Malaya. I gained his trust, and he convinced Malaya to talk to me. We were going to meet later on. I was notified this afternoon that Malaya agreed to meet with me and talk to me, and Malaya trusts me too. And so at that meeting, what I wanted to impress on Malaya, I wanted to have a good conversation with her because Malaya is the only one that was there, other than maybe the drivers, who can verify to me if my name is right that I think, or she could tell me who was there. And see, once I found out where I was aiming, once I found out who picked the kids up, well, then the trail's pretty short to wherever they are.
Mm.
So, but what happened was Malaya agreed to talk to me, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised. I thought, we're gonna get this straightened out. We're gonna get this finished shortly. But Malaya apparently was, from what I understand, she was starting to get ready. She told her family on the reservation are the Brookses. That's where her Brooks name comes in. Her,
Yeah,
and they're a good bunch of people. They're natives, and they're a good bunch of people. I believe they're Micmac, and they love Malaya, and they want to watch out for Malaya, and she's in a good safe spot with them. That's for sure. But they advised her. They were worried about her talking to me, so they strongly advised her. They convinced her to change her mind and not talk to me. So see, that lost my connection to try to find whoever was in the pickup vehicle. So I'm sort of at a loss right now as what to try next. And
yeah,
I think I'm almost going to have to just give up and listen for a while. This is getting hard on my family a little bit. There's a lot of people jerking around down here.
yeah.
But I'm not scared of them if I was getting somewhere. But I think it's at a dead end right now that all I can do is maybe, like I say, if you want to learn something, the best way to learn is not be talking. The best way to learn is sometimes shut your mouth and listen.
And listen.
So I think I'm going to go into a phase for a little while here where I just shut up and listen.
Yeah. Well, that's very disappointing because I mean, it seems like she's easily swayed by others.
Oh,
You know.
yep. Please,
So
you're hitting the nail on the head, and you're reminding me the most important thing I want to say, and that I want people to hear. Please listen to this clearly, because I talked to that Justin guy, and I wasn't getting my points across properly at all. And I talked to this. Well, I couldn't talk to this other person because she's just right out the motive. What was it? Motive means and something.
yeah, don't know.
Well, she's totally whacked then. That one. That's the one that's going to report me to the Mounties and all that shit.
Okay.
I don't really care. But anyway, where I want to go with this, I want everybody to think about Malaya for a few minutes here. Now, people, I want you to picture this. Malaya's relationship with her previous man that she had Jack and Lily too,
Cody.
was very abusive. Okay? And Malaya, to start off with, is a very mild person. Like before she ever even went out with anybody, she was a very mild, peaceful, passive girl. Okay? And when she got into that, I don't know if she had another boyfriend before Sullivan or not, but
Sure was.
I have information that he gave her a really hard time. Now, I have reports from some people of her being pretty violent too, but in my mind, the difference between that is okay. It's the difference in, and like you, I think you already got the idea. I'm kind of an old school idiot. If a man's built at all, if he's got a little solidness to him at all, a woman can punch him in the face a few times, and it really doesn't, it doesn't do that much damage, or hit your slap or something like that. I don't see the real big deal in that. But yet, if you turn it around, a solid man with some strength can really wreck a woman. So that way there, I believe the violent thing has to be between couples, has to be cut out altogether. One rule: nobody touches anybody. That's what I believe. Now, in Malaya's relationship with Sullivan, I believe Malaya might have, tried to slap him a few times, but I don't think Sullivan had much compassion as far as retaliating goes. And by the way, this woman that on this motives means site, she showed Belinda Gray's interview, and she had Belinda Gray down as being involved with the killing and abduction.
She's just obviously a whack job. So those Fruit Loops,
she's a complete
honestly
knob job, man. That thing is whack.
Lots of them. There's lots of them out there, but don't worry about that part.
To tell you the truth, like I so far with my vast experience, you and Dolly are the most sensible to talk to, and that's why I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm not going to bother trying to talk to Justin again because I find him very argumentative, and I'm not going to argue with somebody to prove my points or prove what I know. If they believe me, they believe me, and if they don't, well, they're great. I see a lot of stuff online that I don't believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I want to say about Malaya.
Yeah.
And I really want to make this. Daniel's fighting for himself now. He's got pretty well cleared. He's out in the open. He's got a lot of information out there going, and people don't like some of the mistakes he's making. Well, that's too bad. Now, Daniel's a young man. He can handle himself. Now, honestly, I tried to give him a hand for a while, and I believe I did help him clarify his position, and I investigated the shit out of him. And Daniel's, as far as this, he's not a perfect husband, but as far as this abduction thing, which is the only thing I'm concerned about, he's nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Now, Malaya. Like I said, this thing is so overblown. I want you to picture this. Anytime Daniel, if they get in an argument, and I do it myself, I raise my voice. And it bothers my woman if I raise my voice.
Right.
So I try not to do it. But Daniel's the same. When he gets excited, he raises his voice. Now, you can classify that as abuse if you want. But Malaya being so mild-mannered to start with, and then going through a pretty bad abusive relationship with Mr. Sullivan, and I don't want to blame Mr. Sullivan because, like I said, you don't step in between a man and a woman. Maybe he had plenty of cause to be violent. I don't know. No. I wouldn't put up with a man being violent to a woman in front of me, but that's.
I've been in abusive relationships for a long time. Yeah. I'm in a good relationship now, but trust me, so I do understand what you're saying. But go on, please, Darren.
Okay, now Derwood. As far as I'm concerned, Malaya being so mild-mannered and going through what she went through when she got in with Daniel, and Daniel's a good fella, but I believe she already had some mental issues over the way she was treated. I believe she almost had like a PTSD, and that she was so mild-mannered to start with that if Daniel raised his voice, she went right into panic mode. Okay, so but Daniel never raised his voice very much, as far as I'm concerned. But this is what happened on the side of the goddamn road, and this is why Malaya looked so bad in her interview. She was scared to death. Now, she wanted out of there, and she made a plan to get out of there, but there was other people sort of took it. Like I said, she bitched to the family and told them that she wanted out of there, and she was, the last little while they were having a hard time, and I found this out, that Malaya's income was frozen for quite a while and seized somehow, and I don't know the particulars of that, but Malaya, I don't think, had any money coming in for quite a little while, so they were living on Daniel's unemployment, and they were fine. So when the financial hardship started adding to her postpartum depression with the baby, and then adding to her mild nature, and then adding to maybe some PTSD from the things just got too much between them. So she made up her mind to leave, but she was scared. the reason she tried, what happened here, she tried to sneak out of there because she didn't want Daniel to get upset. She was scared to death of him getting upset. And that's why she did it early in the morning. That's why she snuck the two kids out. What she planned to do was sneak the two kids out to the side of the road, get them in a vehicle, and then take off down the road. And then she planned, because Daniel was still sleeping, then she planned on going, I'm sure of this now, but I can't 100% verify it. And this is some of the stuff that I was going to verify with my meeting with Malaya if it just would have kept going. I'm sure she was going to go back into the place, pick up the baby, come out, and then her and the baby would be gone while Daniel was sleeping. So she'd avoid Daniel raising his voice, because Daniel certainly loved her and certainly would not want them to go. And what happened was, the ones that Malaya was involved with, they're actually not. They're part. A couple of them are part of her family members. Don't forget, she has another aspect to her partial family members, like half brothers and half sisters, and I believe Malaya was complaining to them a little bit, and I believe they were taking it more seriously. Do you know how, okay, you get in a little group and somebody tells a story.
Yeah.
Well, next thing you know, it's repeated, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it goes around the circle. Well, I believe that's what happened. I believe her and a couple of her relatives and a couple other of her close friends talked this all over, and they got so excited that they made up their mind they were going to help Malaya get the hell out of there. And then the sort of the plan was triggered, and Malaya, being so mild-mannered that she was scared to death to do it, but she gathered up the courage to bail. And where it failed, and people say, why didn't Malaya just leave? Well, she was trying to leave. And what happened was, out on the side of the road early in the morning, she shuffled the kids off. And Janie, she didn't know Janie was home at the time. And Janie was sleeping in the trailer, and Janie heard whatever she heard. I think the dog barked a couple of times, and I think she heard a car, and I think she heard somebody talk. And see, Malaya she wasn't supposed to be home right then. She was supposed to be somewhere else. So Janie, Daniel's mother, heard this and came out. And here's Malaya standing on the side of the road with her phone going, and it startled the shit out of Malaya, because Janie walked right up behind her and said, Malaya, what are you doing? I think Janie missed that car by about 30 seconds.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So that's where the plan fell apart. That's where the plan of her just bailing. She tried to bail, and she was so scared. The exact words I understand were said from a couple. Was Janie said to Malaya, "If I'm wrong, I'm damned." But and by the way, Janie, if Janie wants to contact me and tell me that I'm wrong or give me shit, I certainly will take it. I'll take the abuse, no problem at all. Mm. But I've got this from a couple of people. Well, I'll tell you who I got this from. I got it from Daniel, and I got it from Logan, and those are the only other two that I could cross-check this with.
Right.
And so she looked at Malaya, and Malaya looked right guilty, because it kind of startled her, because Janie wasn't even supposed to be there. And Janie said to Malaya, "What did you do?" Now, I think Janie knew that the kids got sent out on a drive, but I don't think she knew what else to say or what else to do. And then, that's when Daniel came out. So that's why Daniel doesn't know just exactly what happened, because first Malaya started. She panicked, and this is all it was. She panicked. And she said abduction. I think somebody took the kids. Daniel went right out of his goddamn mind. And then Malaya started to try to say, well, maybe they weren't abducted. And then that's where it come from. Well, I think they went out the back door. I think they're in the woods. Now, you see, she changed her story twice right there right off the start. So that's why Daniel headed for the woods, because the abduction theory, he didn't know which way anybody went or never went. And in his mind, and maybe she said about the woods, backdoor woods first, I'm not sure about that, and that's why Daniel headed for the woods right quick. He ran up by they had a little cabin next door that the kids played in that Daniel made for them, and so Daniel went running through the cabin and stuff like that. He thought the kids would be in their little cabin where they play, right? And that's why he said, like, there's people saying, oh, where did he go in 30 seconds? He said he was out running through lakes. Well, no, the 30 seconds was the first shot where he just ran up by the little cabin, and they got a little path there beside the place where the kids, it's a nice little spot for kids to play. And Daniel checked that first, and then he came running back. And then Malaya was standing there playing with her phone, and from my understanding of it, Malaya said, well, what do we do? What do we do? And then she said, should I call the cops? And Daniel said, yes, call the fucking cops. And then he jumped in his truck and went, or his van, and went looking for the kids. He checked the yard, and then he went up and down the roads. So, you know, that, and by the time she said abduction, right? And then she called the cops right in front of Daniel, right? And I don't think she was panicking. I really believe she was. And then she told the cops she thought the kids were abducted. Well, of course, the Mounties stormed out there so quick that it was surprisingly quick how quick the Mounties got there, because I think they were already in the area over something else going on, kayaker or something up the road. But anyway, they were there so quick, and then they got abduction in their head, and then they call in the dogs right quick, and then things escalated so fast that Malaya was just standing there pretty near froze in fear and panic, and things escalated so fast that I think by the time Malaya came sort of back to her out of shock, or that the searches were going, it went too fast for her to back out of it.
Right. Now, Derwood, can I just ask you one question?
I've been yapping long enough.
No.
Sure get a chance to talk.
No. Honestly, I would rather listen, to be honest with you, because people don't want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear what you have to say, because you're part of the family. But do you know how long that Daniel was gone? Because the Brookside is trying to say that he was gone for 3 hours, and that's
No,
right.
he wasn't gone. No, he wasn't gone for 3 hours at all. Let me think about that, because I checked that timeline. That's one of the first things I checked.
Okay.
I just think about this for a second.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, obviously that sounds ridiculous that he was gone for 3 hours.
Maximum, I think he was gone for between 25 and 40 minutes.
Something like that. Okay. If you ever find out the answer from Daniel, just let us know. And again, you know.
Oh, listen. Daniel wants to open this up.
Good.
And he's watching things right now. Like Daniel has verified. He even called. He did quite an interview with Dolly last night, I guess, and I never saw it up until 4 o'clock in the morning or so. and Daniel will talk to you the same as I am right now. If you want me to put him in touch with you, or I'm sure he's probably watching right now. So if Dan, put it this way, I'm 99% sure Daniel will be in touch, and if he's not, I'll call him and put him in touch with you. And I'm going to tell you, the stuff he'll tell you will blow your mind.
Well, that's just it. So, like, Charmaine has talked to Daniel through text message. He's personally never answered my messenger ever. And the bottom line is of all this, and you know too, Derwood, that this is about Jack and Lily. And the only way to get answers is honestly, just take the lid off the shit. Just tell it, say what you can. You know, if you can't say certain things, then don't, that are really, if you feel like they're really important to the investigation. But we all know that the RCMP use that same damn ass sentence all day long. Hold it to the vest, hold it to the vest. But for Daniel, like, I know I flip-flop like a fish, but me and Charmaine have always wanted to believe in Daniel, because he came off as the most truthful versus what's happening. But because of the, you know, obviously when somebody says something different, but anyways, he got upset with us because again, it was about Malaya. And all I ask of Daniel is, Daniel, and if you're listening right now, you know what, the important thing here is Malaya, okay, in life, trust me, young grasshopper, that at the end of the day, this is about Jack and Lily, the kids. So if your fight is for Jack and Lily, right? Malaya, that relationship, that has gone south. That's gone out the window. Trust me. So, you know, put Malaya to the side, because what's important here is Jack and Lily first. And if there's any hope in hell ever with you and Malaya, that will happen. Life is one of those things that we know, right, Derwood, that if it's meant to be, it will be. Everything happens for their purposes. But
I don't think, I'm 99% sure Daniel would probably take Malaya back if things ever got straightened out. But Malaya doesn't want anymore. And by the way, Daniel will have to respect that choice. I've made some promises to my family that that there'd be no goofing around as far as Malaya being protected in that from Daniel if she's scared of Daniel, which I think she's a little scared of Daniel, but not to the extent. But Malaya's pretty confused. She's very confused.
I think so. I believe so too.
Yeah.
And then,
so like I say, what I want to impress on, and listen.
Go ahead.
If I did get my point across, I really need people to realize Malaya needs some help in this too. And I know it's a son of a bitch, the cost of the search, and that's going to have to be dealt with. But that'll have to be dealt with as far way out of my hands, and that'll have to be dealt with as far as I'm concerned after we get Jack and Lily sitting at the goddamn table eating ice cream.
Absolutely.
And I either want them sitting at the table eating ice cream, or I want a box full of their bones, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And until that happens, then this is not settled. And so as far as I'm sorry, and if Malaya's watching this, Malaya, you can trust me. All I want to do is help you. All I really want to do is help you, and because I know how you could get to the point of where you were at, and I know, as far as I'm concerned, it was just a little series of bad snap decisions. That's all she did. So she's not guilty of any big, huge crime.
Right.
She's guilty of getting confused and insecure and just making a bad decision with people yapping in her face and stuff like that. So I really love people to understand that both of them are human, very human, and neither one of them's a bad person. So
right.
That's what I see. But like you said, the focus is on, I want Jack and Lily, and I don't. Now, when this first started off, make no doubt about it, I would have strung Daniel the fuck up so quick it would have made your head spin.
Yeah, I know you would have.
If it was him that hurt those kids, he was gonna. And his own family, listen, his uncles and them guys out there, the Mackenzie boys, they love their kids. If Daniel hurt those kids, nobody else would have had to punish Daniel because his own family would have. They will not put up with that shit. So
you can see in his other relationship, though, that, he always had a kid in his arm in many of those pictures. Myself, to be, like I said, so for me, this was, like my job flip-flopped, but I remember watching Sloan Bella, and Daniel had given us puzzle pieces in a sense. And when I listened to Sloan Bella, her line is just like what you were saying. And I was like, oh my God, like that's it. That's exactly what happened, and stuff like that. But then again, I've been flip-flopping because I'm like, as much as I always keep wanting to believe Daniel, because, I keep looking for the genuineness of it all. But so again, just for Daniel, if you are watching, Daniel, just speak your truth, dude. If you want to come up here and talk with us.
The problem with me calling Daniel is there's no phone reception right in his area. Like when he wants to call me, he has to jump in his rig and come a couple miles down the road to a hilltop field to get phone reception, right?
How far do you live from him, approximately?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, are you talking about?
A little less than 20 minutes, maybe.
Well, he can come over to your section and get some Wi-Fi over there then. Now, what I wanted to do, can you hear me still, Derwood?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just, I'll be amazing you here now. I can listen instead of talking.
No. Please trust me. Everyone, they want to listen to you, but I do want to ask, or I do want to say something for Malaya. For Malaya personally, I say this, if this was something that went wrong, that went south, Malaya, honestly, just end it. Take accountability for it, and deal with before it gets any worse, and stuff like that on you. Just
exactly. Malaya I think Malaya herself thinks in her mind, she thinks she's guilty of some big crime. And if it came out, if it actually came out and the circumstances were explained, it's a lot more understandable. If it, and like I said, on the internet, everybody jumped so hard right off the start. Oh, Jesus, the kids were abducted. They were sold for a dope bill. They've been sold for sex. It just railroaded so fast on her and Daniel. Like Daniel was scared shitless too at the start of this, man. He was spitting and sputtering and crying. He didn't know what the Christ to do. And I don't know how I got lucky enough for him to trust me, because I got two young fellas. One fella's about saying, and him and Daniel are friends. Matter of fact, they spent a little time together this evening. And by the way, the cops cleared Daniel, but they're still all over him. And the bastards are even on me quite a little bit.
Yeah.
And now one more point I want to make, and I'll hang whatever questions you want to ask me. Go ahead. I really appreciate the way of your ability to have understanding conversation. But one more thing I want to say is now I forgot what I just wanted to say.
I don't know. Geez, I wish I could help you out there. Ken, did you know what he wanted to say?
Yeah, somebody tell me what I wanted to say, will you?
You guys in chat. It's like I was listening, and the minute you asked what you were saying, it was like, wait a second, freaking, because you were saying, you basically were saying that, basically, thank you for, I know that you said thank you for, basically listening and stuff like that, but
like, I think you've been through a little bit in your life too, and I think you have an
I
understanding
have.
of how some things you can't control in your life and some things you have to adjust to, and like either both Daniel and Malaya, they haven't had it very easy, and everybody will come out of this a lot better. We'll come out of this a lot better if we kindly support these two kids, and they've made their mistakes, and if anybody here can tell me they haven't made a bad mistake and they're over 15 years old, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
So Jesus Christ, understand in this situation, and like I said, if these kids were hurt or murdered or anything like that, or sexually abused, I'd be the first one to take a baseball bat or some kind of tool and straighten things out if the cops didn't. I know what I wanted to say now.
Go ahead.
So don't think that I wouldn't very quickly punish somebody for one of these crimes that everybody's been blaming on them. But none of that applies here. None of that applies at all. Now, what I want to say, I think the RCMP just proved my point about a bunch of goddamn clowns there in their circus act. This thing's been going on, 6.5 weeks now? Now, you explain to me why all of a sudden, after 6.5 weeks, they got to put out a $150,000 goddamn incentive for the public to solve their case for them.
Yeah.
That pisses me off royally.
Yeah.
This should have been solved in 2 or 3 days.
You would have thought,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I do want to say, because I don't ass kiss, so don't think I'm ass kissing here, because I don't ass kiss anybody. But I do want to say that I can tell with you, Derwood, that meaning you're a logical thinker. You're looking at all ends of this case, and you doing your own sleuthing and whatever. Right? It's kind of like myself, I think, and Charmaine and others like Kent here. You think logically, common sense, and then you're looking for where the truth lies. And so you're looking to see that, Daniel, you're verifying some facts of his, finding out that it seems like he's telling the truth, and that this is a case where Malaya has done something, that went sideways, and right. And that honestly, and so I do see that in you, right? Obviously, you're not some dumbass. That's just.
Well, no, I'm not too bright. I'm extending myself pretty hard on
No,
this.
no.
Usually,
No.
I just wanted to sit around and mushroom or whatever you want to talk about. I don't like exercising my brain because it hasn't been exercised too much. I like to keep it simple.
Sitting around a mushroom.
So that's about. I think I probably said enough on that, and I'm sure there's somebody else might want to talk to you, so you can kick me off anytime you want. But I don't know if there's any other questions I can answer for you or not. There's another little tidbit I can tell you.
What?
Man, you should listen to what Daniel says about the blanket thing that got turned up on the side of the road.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that, please. Because
that blanket out there, they only get garbage. They only get garbage removal like something about once a week, and sometimes not for 2 weeks. So the story is unconfirmed by me, but told to me by somebody who's been telling me the truth over and over and over. So the blanket thing was one of the kids' blankets, but it was pretty bad shape, so they decided to throw it in the garbage. So they got a garbage bin inside the house there, so there was some stuff in the garbage bag, and that blanket was one of the things that was stuffed in the garbage bag. So anyway, anyway, Daniel noticed after the kids were gone missing that somebody had gotten into the garbage bag and ripped the garbage bag and went to pull that blanket out of it, but the blanket was rotten, and that's why there's only a piece of blanket. That blanket ended up the road hanging from a tree, and it wasn't there for the first day. Actually, it wasn't there for the first. It never showed up, I don't believe, until the second day on the side of the road. Because don't forget, Daniel's got family that lives up the dirt road, and they travel back and forth. And they said they never saw that. They would have seen the blanket, part of the blanket, sticking in the tree. It's like a sore thumb out there.
Right.
And then the boot print. I want to say this. Do you know who found the blanket? The blanket piece in the tree?
We just heard that it was family that took him there.
That's right. Malaya's friends and family.
Malaya's.
Do you know who found the boot print up on the pipeline?
Malaya's friends and family?
Malaya's friends and family. They all the evidence except for one little thing. That the only thing the searchers found, and I'm pretty sure now some searcher might come on here and say, no, I'm full of shit that they did find something else, but I don't think so. And there was some stuff went missing out of the trailer Daniel checked on too, and he reported this to the Mounties because what he was scared of, that somebody took this stuff, because he was sure somebody planted this evidence.
Right.
And there was some other stuff missing of his, and he was sure that he was going to that somebody was going to try to blame him to make it look like an abduction, and that he did it down the line. So he reported this to the Mounties right off the start to protect. And it was a smart move on his behalf.
Yeah.
He had 2 sweaters, a water bottle, and something else were taken out of his.
What was it about those sweaters? Because obviously when people listen to it, it was something like, well, if there's 2 sweat like that. I mean, obviously he was typing in Dolly yesterday and stuff like that, but he's mentioned something about these 2 sweaters, and it's like, well, if they're found with the kids, it almost came across like I didn't have anything to do with it. She took them with her. So what is it about those 2 sweaters?
Well, that's what he was worried about, that these people, like, they took the blanket, they took the part of the blanket out and set that up to make it look like an abduction down the road. They took the boot print, they set the boot print up on the pipeline to make it look like the kids were in the woods. So they were sort of splitting things up. And there was another couple little things that they found. Now the searchers were all through there, and they never found this stuff. But all of a sudden, Malaya's half-sister found most of it. Matter of fact, I believe it was Malaya's sister found everything. I think she found the half sister. I think she found the blanket hanging in the tree. She found the boot print up on the pipeline, and I mean one boot print up by itself up on a pipeline. And I don't even think it was the right size for the kids, from what Daniel tells me. So. And initially, Daniel denied that was the blanket because he was panicking too. He thought, holy jeez, that makes it look like I abducted the kids. So I'm going to say that it wasn't the blanket. But now, he's...
Yeah, because... Go ahead. No, go ahead.
And now he's worried about... He was worried about when he found the 2 sweaters and a water bottle, and I believe there was something else, 1 or 2 things. There was 3 or 4 items missing out of his house, right at that time. And he was sure the same people that were sort of planting this evidence were going to set that stuff up for later on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
And he reported that the first day.
Okay.
So the Mounties had a record of that, and what he was hoping too, and I'm sure the Mounties were hoping, was that when this stuff turned up, they already knew that it was missing, so that would have probably given them a lead on who put it there. So it was a smart move on Daniel's behalf, and it made him look guilty. It made him look stupid. Like you just said, a lot of people didn't understand. He wasn't explaining it very clearly as to why what he was talking about in the 2 sweaters a few times in the water bottle.
Right.
But once you talk to him and you get it, you listen to him. And once Daniel relaxes with you, the more you're with him, the more he relaxes and he chills out, and he's easier to understand, and then he feels. Daniel's not overly confident either, as far as like an aggressive man. Daniel's not aggressive. But
I see that.
Once you become his friend, he calms down. He gets comfortable with you. I'm like that myself. Some strangers I'm not comfortable with, and I think a lot of people are like that. So anyway, you can see that though in his sweater. Yeah.
Like you can see that in his personality. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
These are not vicious people. These are not the kind of people that.
Something that went.
Well, I've already
sideways.
said that enough. These are not the kind of people that kill kids or sell them for drugs or anything like that. So it's just not there. And as far as killers go, there's just no killers around over there.
Well,
There's a couple killers around this county, and I probably know them. And they're guys if you're going to have to mess with them, well, you're going to have to get serious because there is some bad ones around here, serious guys. But most of the people that I know, we just sort of tend to stay away from them. We don't deal with them and
right.
give them space. I think that's normal for most people. So and like I say, Daniel and his family, the Mackenzie boys out there, I had a little arguments with them over the years, a couple of them, but we smoothed it out. We got along. We never killed each other, and we smoothed it out. And we talk. We're friendly. We meet each other in the mall or something. We have conversation and friendly. But all these guys is rural country people that are tough boys,
Yeah.
and hardworking people trying to make a living just like the rest of us. And I'll tell you one thing, it's like I said before, these people love their kids. If it was found out that Daniel hurt these kids, I don't think he'd ever make it out of his own family's house. Because
You know,
they would not put up with it any more than I put up with it with my family. They will.
yeah. You know,
They run it.
when I watched his interview today, like the full version, and when I watched the full version, honestly, um, I was just like like watching his body movement. Honestly, I honestly don't feel like he's lying. Like there,
No.
everything in me said, like, okay, now I don't want to say completely honest. I'll say
Mm-hmm.
not completely, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously there was a story that was told that morning, and again, it could just have been for protection of Malaya in a sense, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I get that, right? But
Yep.
when I was watching his interview today, I'm looking at his body. It's very relaxed. It's like he is a very kind of soft spoken type of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I can see that. So I'm not blind to that. But what's been really hard is the fact that we got Malaya's one interview, and then
Yeah.
because Daniel, and this is where texts and that get twisted around versus a voice, like how you're talking, right? Because
Yeah.
text can easily get twisted very easily.
The
The
context gets
context,
screwed right up.
yeah,
Actually, Daniel and I had quite a rough little conversation here, probably an hour and a half or so ago, because I had mentioned I was sort of arguing with that Justin guy, and Daniel got a report. What I said, Daniel, somebody was said there was quite a few people telling Daniel that I was online saying that he was an abuser. And what I was saying is, as far as abuse goes, I said some people believe that a slap in the arse for a kid when he's being bad is abuse. Some people don't. And I said if Daniel slapped these kids in the arse when they were being bad a little bit, I don't consider that abuse. I consider that, or maybe it's old style or whatever. I consider that discipline.
hmm
And see, there's another difference between Malaya and Daniel. I believe that Malaya considered a slap in the arse of abuse, and Daniel, but yet the kids wouldn't listen to Malaya very good. They for a couple of reasons. When Meadow came along, I think the kids were jealous of Meadow a little bit, and Malaya paid a lot more attention to Meadow than she did the other two kids. So Daniel was trying to fill that in, and so Daniel, the kids were kind of heedless with Malaya, but they'd obey Daniel a little better because he had the respect, and he probably got. And I'm not saying he did because he never told me this, but I'm pretty sure he probably gave them a slap on the arse just a little here and there
hmm
get them to just sort of discipline them a
I
little bit.
right, I get
So,
it.
but if you classify that as abuse, now, like I said, if I think somebody caught, like you said, and part of it was text too, I think. And
hmm
when I said if you classify that as abuse, well, I guess Daniel's guilty of abuse, and then that went all the fucking hell.
Well, I mean, it really is. A text to tone can be, and like some of his comments that I seen, Fred, he was saying in Dolly, again, the chat's going by fast. Sometimes he's answering things, but they will easily get twisted around. That's
Yeah,
why that's why to me, when somebody is actually talking and those are the words coming out, you can hear the tone, you can hear again, you can hear the feelings behind it, the tone and the words properly. So I
that's right.
appreciate like I would prefer any day to talk with somebody one on one than to be sitting there texting a bunch of different crap. To be
And
honest
that
with you,
you can even see, like you can't see me, and that's probably a lucky thing for you. But I can
no,
see you,
because you're
so
handsome.
I can sort of judge your facial expression and that, and I can sort of judge your body movements, that's I believe that's part of communication because that
Absolutely,
gives you more context.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
That's
I don't
why
know.
it's why I don't like to hide really behind an avatar unless I'm having a puff of my vape or something like that, or need to go to the bathroom. It's because
Yeah.
my own personal feeling is I like it to, like, I want people to, like, literally, see me and see exactly the facials or whatever as we're talking about it. Some channels, they just hide behind an avatar all day long. It's not my way.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can communicate, or that people, the viewers, they want to see the actual person on a screen than looking at some dumb avatar all day long. Kent, no offense to you,
I
this has
agree.
nothing to do
Yep.
with you. I just mean
Yep.
it. It's my personal. I'm old school too, as you know, Derwood.
Yep.
Again, it's one of those things.
I can tell you sound like a country girl. I don't know if you're a country girl or not, but you sound like you were.
Mm,
I don't think you were brought up in a big city at a ballet school
nah,
or an English literature college.
yeah.
But you're doing great. As far as and who am I? I'm not anybody to say that you're doing great. But I
Uh,
appreciate your communication. I seem to be able to communicate well with you. And that there's at times that I don't communicate well with people because I don't know. I don't know
well,
what it is. I got a very strange sense of humor sometimes.
I got a great sense of humor, but and I'm not meaning for you to go at this second here, but I know it's getting late there. But
Oh,
you tell Daniel, if you're watching this, you tell Daniel, you get your ass on up here and you say your piece about the case.
matter of fact, I can send him a message on Messenger and hope he gets it. So I'll message him and tell him to try to get on there if he
We're
can.
here for Jack and Lily and the truth. That's it. That's it. So
Yep,
if, so
yep,
if
yep.
there's information that he legitly just wants to put out there instead of these, like, these games, we're not into games at all. This is about Jack and Lily
No, no.
and
This is no.
A to Z,
This is
just
a
A to
serious
Z.
issue, and it's too goddamn serious for people to be conjecturing and saying a bunch of shit. I know this, and I know. Like the first thing, oh jeez, that drove me crazy. These goddamn people. I answered a few people, and they were saying, "Oh, did you check the septic?" As if the cops wouldn't check under the trailer. Did you check the septic tank? Oh, did you check under that blue tarp? And did you? Well, I fucking started answering them back, and I said, "Well, did you check the bowl in the back of the toilet? And did you check the gas tank in the lawnmower? Did you? Come on, people, come on."
I
And there
know.
was thousands and thousands of them. They keep saying the same shit over and
I
over.
Yeah, see,
So
but those, for me, right? Because like I said, you got to ignore the stupid shit out there because there are people from a different planet for sure out
yeah,
there.
yeah,
But the more, even those people, they're following the case because they care, even if they
yeah,
have a twisted sense of thought or whatever.
yeah. Okay, there's one chat going by here. This Eliza Knockwood, and I just want to tell her. She said that suspect vehicle should be reported. It's too serious to be sitting on information and holding anything back. And I just like to tell her, just because I give the impression that I don't like the cops and the assholes, I can guarantee you that was reported. So don't worry about that. The vehicle
Right.
suspicion and that was reported.
Yeah.
And it was reported from different people, including
Mm-hmm.
Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
including me, including some other people. So like I'm reporting. I reported. They know everything. They know everything I know, except for the names of the people that I believe are the best candidates that were in that pickup vehicle.
Right.
And I won't tell them that because, number one, until I prove it, it's only speculation.
Yeah.
And I don't want to accuse anybody of something that I'm sure they never did. And the other thing is, okay, and by the way, the Jordan, I think he's one of the head guys in the major crime unit. Him and I had a pretty stiff little conversation for a few minutes. He was pretty dirty at me. He threatened me with holding back evidence and interfering with
Who did?
he interfering with an investigation in that because I wouldn't tell him my suspected names in this, right? And I wouldn't tell him how I came to those conclusions because I told him stuff before and I don't think they acted on it. But and that's not the main reason I wouldn't enlighten them on that. The main reason I wouldn't enlighten them on that Yeah, and I said directly to him, I said, okay, I'm going to tell you why. I said, you can charge me if you want. We'll see you in court, and I think you'll be pretty well laughed at a court, because my claim will be that you're expecting me to tell you speculation with no proof. So
Right.
I don't think I don't think the charges are going to fly for you. So as far as I'm concerned, go do what you got to do, and see you later.
Yeah.
But then he said, well, why? Can you tell me how you came to this conclusion? And I said, no, I'm not going to tell you that either, because I said I never even finished the conclusion yet. But I said, okay, say I drop a name on you right now, okay? He said, yeah. I said, what are you going to do if I drop a name on you right now? He said, well, I'm going to go investigate. I said, by investigation, and all you have is a name, you're going to go speak to the person and interview them. Am I correct? He said, yes. I said, so, okay, let's say that person is the driver, or is a person that was right in the pickup vehicle. You're going to go talk to them, and they're going to deny, no, I wasn't anywhere near there. No, I wasn't in the God. You think they're going to admit it to you? And then when they don't admit it to you, and you walk away from there with your goddamn finger stuck in your goddamn ear, what do you think they're going to do? Yeah, they're going to fucking well call the people they took the kids to, and then the kids are either going to be shuffled around, moved again, or else maybe they'll panic and think, we got to get rid of those kids because somebody's on to us, and that's what I feared. We'll get rid of those kids, we'll get rid of the evidence. And that's why I went on Dolly first, and that's why I think I even said it on yours. I threatened the people. That's why I was kind of ignorant and harsh, and I told them, you fucking idiots that have those kids, we are closing in on you. And if I could have talked to Malaya, that's what I was talking about. I was coming awful close. And I told them online, I said, I swear good too sometimes. I said, you fucking idiots that have those kids, I want you really got to think about this. We're zeroing in on you. We already almost know who you are. So if you panic and hurt those kids now, we're going to find you anyway, and it's only going to go a lot worse on you. So your best bet, you know we're coming. I'm telling you we're coming. You know we're coming. Your best bet is to take those fucking kids, put them out into the daylight, bring them to a place where we can get them. And I even told a couple people, and I didn't do this online because, well, the cops want to fucking shoot me anyway. I told a couple people that are friends of the people that I'm suspicious of, to get a message to them, that I'd make a deal with them, that if they handed me over those fucking kids, I would guarantee them that I would never open my mouth where the kids came from. Right. And I knew if I did that, if that would have worked, I knew I was going to take a beating, but by geez, we'd have those kids.
That's all we want. That's all we want.
So the whole thing fell apart when Malaya's family advised her not to talk to me.
Wow.
And all I want to do now, number one, is like you said, I'd love to find those kids, but I don't have any other avenues that I can see where to try. And besides that, I'm worn out. My woman's pissed off at me because I've spent a lot of time on this, and it's upsetting her a little bit. It's upsetting her life a little too much, and yet I'm OCD. I can't seem to let it go. I should.
You know what? And I get it. I honestly, like for me personally, it's one of those things like, I mean, I've put myself into a lot of this case, and I've probably worn myself out for sure. That's why I needed a nap today, because I'm doing it regardless. I'm doing it for, Belinda, but obviously it's because we care about this case. But, Belinda, I just always, I've appreciated the information because it's about Jack and Lily, and I appreciate. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, one thing here now. I just struck me. It might be a good move. I might seem like a fool. I'm not really worried about looking like a fool by trying some of this stuff, because it just might pay off. So if people on here want to think I'm a fool or an arsehole, well, that just carry on. I want to say now that I'm online here and that we got some attention.
Yeah.
I want to tell the people, okay, I'm screwed up right now. I'll tell you the truth. If you have the kids, my link to find you is broken right now, maybe temporarily, because Malaya is not going to talk to me. And she's the only one who knows who you are, for sure. I want to tell you this. You're in a bad spot. You've got two kids that everybody and their dog is looking for, that there's a big reward up for now. And if you're not nervous, you're a goddamn idiot. And if the wrong people find you, you won't have to worry about the police or anything else. So this woman here has my phone number. So if you have a brain at all, I think you've got to be nervous, people holding on to these kids and hide them. You've got to be starting to get nervous. So if you're nervous and you think the shit's going to hit the fan, I know you don't want to give them to the cops because you'll be exposed and you're going to be in a lot of shit. So I don't think you really know how to move these kids out. I'll make you a deal. This woman knows my phone number. If you notify this woman and set up a place where I can pick up those kids, I'll pick up the kids anywhere you want, anytime you want. And I'll come and get the kids, and I swear to God, I don't care what the RCMP do to me or anybody else does to me. If you give me those kids, I will never utter your name, your face, or they'll never know where I picked them up.
The kids back.
Okay? That's my message to you people. If it's getting through to the people that have these kids, please give us those kids.
And as well, yes, absolutely. You know, and I get it. So like, meaning I know that your heart and soul's into it. I can tell, I can hear it. And I know, you know, from just, you know, again, I do things because I'm a deep empath and I truly care. And it makes me actually want to. They just like with Belinda.
Do you imagine what it would feel like to walk out with those kids in your arms?
Absolutely.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, that would be the best. And like
everyone wants that.
That would be worth a life. That would, boy.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I'm done. I'm done with my bullshit. I'm tired.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor if you don't mind?
No.
Derwood, can I just let Kent ask you a question before you head off? Because
sure.
But I honestly, do what you need to do. Follow your heart regardless. Okay, regardless with this case, just follow your gut instinct in your heart. You know, and I guess if your wife's upset, you tell her that you're just following your heart to what you're doing because you know what you're doing is right. But if you need to step back for a minute, go ahead. Again, but do you mind if I let Kent ask you a question before you go?
No, I don't care. I don't know what else I can answer,
sure.
but I'll answer anything I can.
Kent, did you have something that you wanted to ask, Derwood? Maybe he fell asleep on me.
Oh, that's Kent Corbett, the junkyard guy.
Yeah.
Junkyard guy. Yeah. No, he can ask anything he wants.
Kent, this isn't the time to fall asleep, dude.
I probably put him to sleep.
Hold on, let me just see. Hold on. I Kent, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, so I had muted your mic because it was making noises. Did you want to ask Derwood something?
Well, I just want to say that earlier, and I'm not defending them, Derwood. Don't think that I am. But when you were on Justin's, I was in the chat, and I just want to say that Justin was trying to catch up on the story from last night because he'd never heard what you told this channel last night, and I think he should have just let you, and like Sonny does, is say, okay, tell us from the start, because we weren't, and he has more subscribers than what Sonny does. He should have let you just go on from the story from the start instead of jumping in and trying to get specific answers for specific questions. So that's all I want to say about that.
He did sort of kick my frame of thought around, and that's probably me being a little simple, because if I start on a track of thought and it's kicked off, sometimes I'll lose it and end up in the wrong note. And listen, I thought Justin was a nice guy, and I have no problem with him at all, none whatsoever. I appreciated him listening, and our phones were screwing up bad.
Yes, and that's the other thing I was going to say, is the connection wasn't great, but I just want to say, and like I say, I'm not standing up for him, but I want you to know that everybody appreciates the information that you're giving us. And the point that I want to make about the search is, because you're from Pictou County and you know yourself, on if this plan that was hatched would have happened on a normal time, then it might have been a 5 or 6 hour head start before all these searchers arrive. But because they were already in the county on that kayaker's body search,
Exactly. The Mounties were there.
everybody was on site. Like the Mounties were there within 12 minutes, and the searchers were there within an hour. And I think that just made Malaya said, "Holy smokes! Like what a response!" But they didn't know that that other situation was going to be going on that week. So.
Right.
Kenneth, you're right on the money. That's exactly what happened to Malaya. She's insecure, and she was worried. She was under pressure, and she made a bad decision. And she had a couple friends yapping in her ear that were making her more confused. And you're right on the money. If things wouldn't have happened so fast and overwhelmed her, you're just right. This
You might have been able to back out of it.
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that, because that shows me that I got my point across about that.
Okay.
And I'm thanks for understanding that. And as far as Justin goes, tell him I tried to call him back, and my woman.
No, he was there, and like I say, it was just connection. But I just didn't want you to have a bad impression of him, because, like I say, it was more or less that he didn't have the info that some of the people in the chat had, but not everybody, because not everybody that watches Justin's channel watches this channel. And so therefore that's where things get lost, right?
Exactly. And if this lady wants, if Justin wants to take, I don't know how you do it, because like I said, I got a flip phone and I can barely run that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I can get this connection going.
Well, I'll tell you, I was on another thing called the morning show.
Kent, hold on. It's because you guys are over talking each other now because of the lag. So sorry. Let Derwood here finish what he was saying.
No, I was just saying. Excuse me, Kent. I was just saying that if this lady wants to take, or if Justin wants to record or take what I said tonight and use it on his channel, if it's all right with this lady and Justin,
of course.
Please go ahead.
Justin, I don't copyright strike. I want awareness. That's the main thing. That's why I really don't do anything I don't do that stuff. I don't play those games, because this is about the murdered and the missing. And only a selfish person would copyright strike you when you're dealing with the murdered and the missing.
No, that's fine. Whatever you guys decide. I just feel satisfied to know that I'm pretty sure I got my messages across. I want as many people to understand, to soften up a little bit and offer a little bit more compassion, understand, just like Kent just did. He understood that situation, and that Malaya. So, like I said, Malaya is Malaya, and I think you guys understand that now. So I don't think people will be quite as hard on her as they were. And if she's listening, if you call me, Malaya, or whatever I can do to help you, I'll do whatever I can to help you.
You tell Daniel to get his ass up here, and you tell him just tell us straight out about the day, and as much as he can. That's what I would.
Derwood, before you come on,
just the details.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Kent. Sorry.
Derwood, before you come on, I said the same thing to Sonny. I said, and I thought we were live, but we weren't live yet, so I will say it again. I make the plea to Malaya and her family that, as you laid out the situation, if that is, and as that is what maybe of what happened, then the people of Pictou County and the people, I believe, of the rest of Nova Scotia. I can't speak for the rest of Canada because I don't know them, and I can't speak for the USA because I don't know them. But I know the people of Pictou County. I know the people of Nova Scotia. If this is what has been happening, come out now. We will be behind you. We will get you the support that you need and the help that you want.
Way to go, Ken. Way to go.
Yeah. Just want Jack and Lily back. That's all. That's it. However they come back, just want them back. Simple as that. That would mean, you have no idea. Just on a personal level myself, to have, like I said, Belinda's been sharing because she's been fighting for these kids. I'm so glad to see that yourself and others are starting to come forward to try, because the truth needs to be told about this, and get Jack and Lily back. They're still out there, and I pray that they are. I would honestly, I mean, I'd bawl like a baby if I knew that Belinda, would see the grandbabies again. Her grandbabies, obviously, she's the paternal grandmother, and we saw her interview, and and you too. Like I can see in your heart, Darwood, that obviously, you're fighting for truth and you're fighting for justice because you know how children how much they mean, but these little sweet innocent babies do not believe it, do not belong um, in the middle of something. If again, if somebody has done something, Malaya, if you have hidden the babies, you know what? Like I said, just be accountable for it. As for Daniel, Daniel, just come speak your truth. Not little pitch patchy works of here information there. Just come tell it from A to Z. Let the internet help you push, push, push. All we want to ever hear is the family and their words, and knowing full well that attacks are normal. Okay. But it's a matter of being strong and going, you know what? I don't care what people say. I'm just telling them the truth. Here it is. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Either way, I'm out there and I'm putting it out there because these aren't our children. This is, the family's children and nieces and nephews and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
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 Um,
No.
when I see Charmaine's here as well now, do you want to say hi to Charmaine? Charmaine's there. Hi, Charmaine. Sure.
Me?
Yeah, well, she.
Kent. I think she wants Kent to stay a little more than me.
No.
Hi. Hi. Sorry. So busy
Hi,
today.
how are
Crazy.
you? Hope you're well.
I'm
Sure.
good. Thank you again for coming on. It's amazing.
Okay, I got to turn off. Kent, I got to mute your mic. Charmaine, did you want to ask Derwood something before he goes?
No,
Are you
no,
good?
I don't have any questions at all for Derwin. I really appreciate the time that he takes on all these channels to spread the word
Yeah.
about what he knows and his truth, and I totally understand if you need to take a minute and respect your woman's wishes to kind of take a step back and rethink things and maybe come at it from a different angle or give Malaya some time to reconsider. And I really appreciate you
Yeah.
and all of the information that you share, because I mean, without family coming forward and doing what you're doing, we would
Exactly.
all just be sitting here regurgitating the same shit that we do every night, right? So it's really,
Yeah.
really appreciated.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the understanding, and that but no, it's all good. It's all good. It really is. I can
Yeah.
say something that probably most of you don't want to hear or won't agree with, but
If you can say it.
no,
Just
I'm done for now.
no.
I think I'm
Okay.
done.
No problem. Well, like I said, if you could, again, obviously we'd like to hear from the horse's mouth. Daniel actually liked this, so if he's willing to, absolutely, Daniel. If you're watching, again, it's about Jack and Lily. Okay.
Yep.
At the end of the day, this is about Jack and Lily. That's what the
Yep.
fight is for. Anything
Yep.
to do with any culpability to this case, that's a whole different matter. At the end of the day, people just want to understand what happened to Jack and Lily, and if they're still alive, please, please, whoever has them, just release them. Whoops,
Yeah,
sorry.
so you're doing. We'll give, people will give. People will give you some slack too. We understand that I understand that maybe even you got caught up in a bad decision and a bad snap mistake, and that you're having trouble backing out of it. So for the sake of the kids, anybody on here would give you a chance to back out of this situation to help yourself. So just I'm
Okay.
thank you guys.
You're welcome.
I'm screwed. So I'm
No, you know what? Because I just want to give you the biggest air hug through the phone, because I just really want to say thank you for calling into the channel. Thank you, like I think Belinda, thank you for seeing that. Honestly, we're just genuine, honest, caring people that just really want to help with this case and meaning bring awareness, and like again, the only people that can tell the truth is the people that are involved, family members. So hopefully that this will have a miracle ending, that Jack and Lily are returned. But thank you, and again, if you do need to just take a moment and let Daniel do the talking in a sense, because obviously it's taking its toll on you. But from from a person that's a fighter, and I've been in an abusive relationship, so trust me, I don't take any shit from people anymore because I've been there, done that. So I can understand everything from Malaya's perspective as well,
Yep. Yep.
regardless. Because again, people do the stupidest things sometimes, and sometimes they hate getting maybe caught up in a lie, and they just keep it making it worse. And not, but anyways, so hopefully,
Yep. Yep.
but thank you,
No,
Darwood.
and no, thank you back. I owe you guys more than you owe me. Thank you very
No,
much.
no, we don't.
Have a good night, and
Okay.
thanks, Ken.
Can't.
Thanks, everybody.
All
peace,
right.
peace out, you guys, and,
Okay.
and walk with Jesus Christ in faith. Peace out.
Okay, thanks, Darwood.
Bye.
Okay. Okay, you guys, that was again a good call. I just for me, it's just all about the facts and the truth. What happened to Jack and Lily? So bless again. I want to say this: bless Belinda. Thank you so much for being strong. Same with Darwood. Thank you so much for being strong, Daniel. Thank you for coming forward even more as I see you're doing. And again, if you have nothing to do with it, like you said, the truth is the truth, right? Yeah, if you got nothing to hide and the truth is the truth, then there's nothing to worry about. And as for Malaya, well, we've only ever seen the one interview. Things are looking rather definitely sketchy. Again, Malaya, if you have anything at all to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily, just be accountable. You know, again, don't make it any worse. Make it better, but you have to take accountability. And all I want myself, and I know you guys do too, you guys just want to know that Jack and Lily are okay, and that a miracle here can happen as well. So, with that, I say thank you everyone for listening, and I'm going to shut up and let you guys talk. And thank you, Darwood, again. Go ahead, guys.
I've just been trying my best to listen. But again, it was another, I wouldn't call it bombshell stuff, because I think yesterday we talked about it with Derwood, and it sounded like that was the direction things were going about Meadow being taken, if that's indeed what Malaya decided to do. And like I said, that was an awful big risk. And if all of this came about because of her stress level and her panic, then this is the most critical time for Jack and Lily, if this is truly the scenario that we're dealing with. So just getting messages out to Malaya as much as we can, that
Well,
you can make it right. It's never ever too late to do the right thing, and life goes on, and it can be really good. You just have to start by fixing your mistake.
Mm-hmm. I know Belinda has sent me some messages, but I gotta put them in order first.
There's also, I don't know if you saw it. Like I said, I was listening, and I was trying to keep up with chat. I was doing my best, you guys. I was doing my best. But Drippy, or who was it, Drippy? It was somebody sent you screenshots of an article regarding previous CPS or something. I don't know what substance there is to that, or if it's a reputable outlet that released that. I haven't seen it at all, but I know that it was sent to you.
Well, it was hard.
Say it.
Belinda had sent it to me earlier. I haven't even really read it myself yet, because again, I was just I woke up and I was looking at the thing, and Belinda sent me some stuff. Charmaine, just quickly, and Ken, again, I know that you prefer to listen to what Darwood had to say, and you came in and joined me on the live here because Charmaine was obviously too busy trolling around in a vehicle somewhere, and she didn't have time for us. But we forgive her because she's here now.
Listen, when Ian got in the truck and I was listening to the live, he's like, "Are you supposed to be on tonight?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, I didn't even know," and he did floor it all the way back. So.
Well, I don't see no $1 million donation coming from Ian. No, I don't see it either. But Kent, do you need to get going, or did you?
No, I want to stay here for a little bit because I
Sure.
stopped my chat because at 11:13 I want to go back and I want to address
Sure.
Elijah Knockwood's made a comment in the chat about Malaya and Daniel both asked for an Amber Alert. Why the police didn't set up checkpoints is so disappointing. And I want to address that by saying that there might not have been, if the timeline, as Derwood is explaining to us, and we're not getting no actual time by the minute to the hour or whatever from him, and I wouldn't expect him to. But if that early morning timeline is correct, what would, and I'll address the part about roadblocks first. What would the difference be if the Mounties checked or set up checkpoints? Because they're probably, the Mounties never got the call until, and I heard today on another channel that it was actually, and I think it was in Plunder's, one of Plunder's video, she actually had some dispatch saying that of something about 10:03 was the official 911 call placement. So if, I just want to say, if that is the case, checkpoints wouldn't have helped us because they would have already probably been outside of the checkpoint. And the reason why I say that is because from the start, as soon as the searcher started arriving, you can also listen in that original dispatch when they were talking about last seen at 8 a.m. and whatnot. You can hear ground search and rescue personnel stopping media at checkpoints, stopping family members at checkpoints, and requesting the permission for the RCMP to let them go beyond the checkpoint. So I want to stress that, like, we get on the RCMP for moving slow and what everything else, but I still have faith in them. Like I say, I don't have as many dealings with them maybe as some people, and that's why they don't have faith. I don't know. But I have faith, and when I see something that they did do and they get called out on for it, I will back them up as soon as I back up anybody else that I see getting called out for something that is not true. So that is that. The Amber Alert part of that message or comment, well, we didn't meet the criteria, and even though this situation plays up, it's not really the definition of abduction. So how would you expect RCMP when the 4 criteria for an Amber Alert are young children or children that are at intimate risk, they have a description of suspect and or suspect vehicle of doing the abduction, and the theory that it's abduction in the first place? Like, call a spade, but I wanted, I'm not trying to defend the RCMP, but on the stuff that they are doing, we have to give them the credit for doing what they're doing, as well as calling them out for moving slow or not giving us enough information. And I think, as a normal practice in Canada, I think we've got as much information as probably most Canadians would have expected. I understand anybody else from anywhere else might be thinking that we should be more like the US system, where we get anything and everything, whether it's true or not, and doesn't matter who it comes from. But I think in this case especially, there was enough speculation off the start that details that weren't facts from the RCMP just would have created more speculation. But that's just my opinion. And
So I've
that's
got
the only
three
reason.
things. Got 3 things about, well, about the Amber Alert system as a whole, I think we need reform when it comes to children this young. That's
Yeah.
just my own opinion. It's got nothing to do with this case. I think an Amber Alert should go out when children this young go missing, whether they have a suspect vehicle or not. That's just, but that's a reform thing. But another thing that I think a lot of people don't quite understand is the RCMP themselves don't say, oh, let's issue an Amber Alert right now. They have to get approval from I believe it's the Governor General. It's not just a quick decision that the police chief or whatever is going to make, right? They have to make the decision to apply to have that Amber Alert sent out. It's a very quick process once they decide to apply, but it's still not just as simple as the RCMP decided not to do it, right? So that's that for that. The whole Amber Alert thing needs to be changed, but in this case, it may have helped if this is what happened. You never know how far down the road the vehicle would have got, or if they stopped, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. You never know. Hindsight 2020. But let's work on reform. We posted that petition. And then the other thing, and I wish I would have thought of it, because I do have a concern and a question about this entire theory. And it might just be something that Derwood has never explained on any of the channels about this theory. But why this day? We know that Daniel worked 1 day a week. And so why go through all this trouble on one of the days that he's home to try to sneak the kids out, when maybe just a few days later while he was at work, she could have done it with a lot less stress? Do you know what I mean? Like, was there something that day or the next day, or, you know what I mean? Like, why that day when he was home? Like, if she was trying to sneak below his radar.
That's a good question for him, Charmaine. And the only thing that I would suspect there is that, like I say, I don't think, like he says, Malaya didn't make this decision on her own. Mm-hmm. And therefore, the ones that were involved, this might have been the day that they were available or whatever. But yeah, no, I understand your point totally about the day being available.
But how is she planning it if not through her cell phone? And the police got that. I have questions about it, and I know that there's gaps in the theory, and I know for like Derwood and Daniel, it's not a theory. They're convinced, and it could very well be. But these questions, can we, just even if you have a speculation as to why or how she planned it without using her cell phone that the police didn't get through downloading her data. Do you know what I mean? Like,
or is this information that the police had? Like, if she was using her cell phone, which I think would be awful stupid, but if she was on her cell phone that morning after the kids left, when Derwood says that Jeannie came out behind her, if she was messaging anything there saying, all right, whether she was using code words or whatnot, but saying A and B are gone, or A and B's delivered, or whatever, like you say, the RCMP should have that info. Not that they're going to tell us that anyways, but the RCMP should have that info. And maybe that's why, like, I know different people would have different definitions or explanations for abduction, and some people could still look at this as a parental abduction, the same as I think when Malaya left her mother's yesterday, and if she was supposed to stay at her mother's place on DCS order, everybody said, well, why not call the police? She could have an arrest warrant. Well, for what? She never broke nothing as far as the law goes. It's her kid. She broke a DCS order. When she got to wherever she went, and whether her lawyer reported, okay, she's here with me or here with whoever, and then DCS, from what Derwood tells us, they stepped in and said, okay, we can't trust you to maintain the contract that you state that you will, so therefore we're going to take Meadow. And apparently that's what they did today. So I'm the same way. Like, they, if this communication was done over cell phone or any type of electronic device, because they've taken other devices and they even took the internet router, the RCMP should have already had some of this information, even if they couldn't connect the dots, like Derwood can't connect them all yet.
Mm-hmm. And hi, Lauren, but Snapchat, there's a Snapchat cache now where it doesn't matter what you do, it's not gone forever. Yes, it's gone off your device, but there's a cache, and 99% of what you do on Snapchat can be pulled back with the right software. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I can go into my Snapchat and get something that I sent or whatever, but they have the software that can go into that cache and grab it. Most of it. Some of it gets lost still, but most of it they can get.
And I don't know. Like I say, I think that this situation unfolding the way it is, I see little mama asked, well, or made the statement, well, if they find the kids or bodies, that she won't get her kids back. I don't think she'll get them back under the current situation until she gets help either way, whether they're on alive or alive. Like, they'll look at that situation before they just, okay, yeah, you take your kids back.
Yeah, no, and I mean, there's a reason why, and if Malaya was under a CPS order to have only supervised custody of Meadow and supervised by her mother custody of Meadow, then there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is probably, and I don't know for sure, but from what I know about the way that system works is because Jack and Lily are missing and because they haven't been cleared of any wrongdoing yet. So
yeah,
they just have Meadow's best interests at heart when they do stuff like that. But it's not a criminal offense for her to leave with Meadow. She just violated a CPS order. So she's basically now lost her supervised rights to Meadow. And she could very well get Meadow back, but it's going to take, just like Daniel has to do, right? Like
there's going to be counseling and
whatever happened with his CPS meeting today to get supervised visitation. But now she has to jump through those same hoops because of the decisions that she's making. And hopefully one of these bad decisions that she's making, now that she's lost Meadow, she will stop and reconsider her life's choices and just do the right thing and face the consequences. Whereas if your kids are okay and they're just somewhere else, the consequences are not going to be that severe. They're going to be severe if you allow it to continue, or if something terrible happened to the kids
after the fact,
after you made that decision. If that's indeed what's going on here. And even if you don't know anything, it's not going to affect anything, anybody, nothing, except help Jack and Lily for you to put something on your Facebook about them, share something about their disappearance. Just look for your children. If they're truly out there and they're truly missing, help look for them. It's all about politics, right? What do you like? I'm done. I'm going to go off, so I'm just done. Just do the right thing.
Yeah, please. Well, like, we've been talking about this for 7 weeks. What, like, there's something funky going on here, and I think Derwood is hitting her nerve, but what would a normal parent, step-parent, grandparent, whoever, like, if anybody watches the TV interviews with Belinda and sees the sincerity in her heart and the hurt in her heart because she don't know what to believe, She can believe some in her own heart, and as she said it in the interview, she believes that the children might be gone. Well, that's hard, but we'll deal with it if that is the case. But we all expect a normal parent or guardian and on down on the line that if your children are missing and you don't know the info about them missing, you're going to be out there pleading either, if do you think that they're just lost, pleading for them to be found. If you think they're abducted, pleading for their safe return or whatever. But everything has just been so quiet here. We all get left to our own minds, which isn't a good thing, especially in my case sometimes. And I'll admit that, but we all get left to our own conclusions. And like I said when Derwood was on the phone, if there's anybody on Malaya's side of the family, like I say, I can't speak for the rest of Canada. Charmaine is from another province, and she dealt with people in 2 provinces and more in the case. But I can think that I can speak for the people of Pictou County, and I think I can speak for the people in Nova Scotia. And if there's anybody out there that's in Malaya's family, let us get the info we need to bring these kids home or back and treat them with respect that they deserve. Even though they're 4 and 6, they are human beings and they need respect. And the people of Pictou County and Nova Scotia will be behind you to get you the help that you want and the help that you need. If you don't want any help, well, you definitely need a little bit of help to be able to see your children again. I don't think anybody is crazy in stating that, but in my opinion, I think that there's going to have to be some counseling and what all done there. But if you don't want anything beyond that, that's your right. But it's time to take this situation back under control and saying, I messed up. Here's what I know. Let's go.
There's a couple of things going on in chat, and I'm sorry, you guys are, it's going a little bit too fast for my pea brain. But Mark, and anybody else who keeps saying this, I understand where it's coming from. That's what's confusing me. If RCMP says there was no abduction, they are not saying there was no abduction. They don't have any evidence to prove that it's an abduction. That's a far cry from, they've moved on from the abduction theory. Okay. It's clear to a lot of people that they're looking into every theory, right? So they have not ruled out abduction. There's just no evidence to prove that it was an abduction. So they're leaving all avenues open. And that's just not for Mark. That's for everybody else who's like, oh, the police say it was an abduction. No, they just don't have any evidence to point that way right now. They don't have any evidence to point many different ways. In my humble opinion, their evidence that pointed them into those woods the first 3 weeks is what cost the investigation, in my opinion. They were so focused on those woods. And maybe Daniel was telling them what he was thinking. Maybe they were looking into it. But as far as the public was concerned, they were searching those woods. And that search and rescue lady, just 2 days ago on that interview, who knows when the interview was done, I get it, but still believes that the kids are out in those woods. So,
but I think she had to tell the political correct answer there, Charmaine. I don't know.
No, it's her job, absolutely.
Personal
absolutely,
opinion,
that's her
like,
job to do that. And Garnetta, what channel? My channel? Put my channel back up. My podcast channel is up, but I don't do stuff on it. I do my podcast on Spotify and Apple and all that, and then it automatically loads into YouTube. So I don't know what you mean by that. FBI needs to be involved. And Unicorn, do I think that this case needs fresh eyes? I think that would be fantastic. But what fresh eyes are you referring to in Canada? the FBI is kind of the top of the top. There are the agencies that will internally investigate RCMP things like shootings and stuff like that. But the FBI, that's an American agency.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're invited to come across the border to help out, perhaps, possibly. But I mean, it's so rare. We don't have all those options. Like the RCMP
Our version of the FBI is involved. Like the RCMP is our version of the FBI.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. RCMP is our federal law enforcement agency. This is the tippy top for us.
Alicia, I see you asked there if Meadow is not in her care. As far as we know now, with Meadow leaving her mother's place yesterday, she broke the DCS order. And when she reported to the RCMP, because that was the big thing locally today, is that on Facebook, is in the local groups, is wherever Meadow went or wherever Malaya had went, she checked in with either the RCMP or DCS. And then in this afternoon, from what Derwood tells us, is CPS has now taken the custody. We don't have any statement from CPS or the RCMP, but that's what the family is telling us, is now CPS has custody of Meadow.
And then Unicorn, another one. I keep going back to Malaya's father saying he's a tracker baby. Like, why the F wasn't he tracking then? People don't look for something, they know where it is. I don't know if Derwood is going that far to say that Malaya's family knows what's going on. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But I personally, my own opinion of that whole text message at the very beginning was that when he said that, it was blown out of proportion. I think when he said that, he just assumed that the kids were either already found or going to be found really quickly. I don't think any of them thought that we'd be here at 7 weeks, right?
I think it's a small group, if any of them do know. Like, I don't think her whole side of the family. Because if you remember, Derwood is Malaya's family. He's not Daniel's side of the family. He's related to Malaya's grandmother. So he's her first cousin, and he's Malaya's second cousin. So he's from her side of the family. But he's also from Pictou County, and is trying to put two and two together to find out where the kids are and bring them home.
And I'd like to say too, like for me, in my own mind, if I try to put myself in Daniel's position as the stepfather of a woman that I've been helping raise her kids, and I love them all, and they up and leave me one day, and the kids are gone, disappeared, and my partner disappears, isn't helping looking for her biological kids, and I'm left holding the bag, taking all of this blame and everything that he's going through. You would go through the stages of grief, but I think I would be darn right angry at this point. I don't know that I'd still be talking to the media. I don't know if I would still be at the forefront of trying to find this woman's kids who's not even looking for her own kids. Good on him that he's doing it. But do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I think that's why he's coming out more now, is because he's worried, and maybe not so much now if DCS has Meadow, but Derwood also told us last night that he was worried what Malaya might do with Meadow if she was on her own, and that's why he was trying to keep her close to him, is so that he could keep a close eye on what is his actual children, because Charmaine, I think it was one of the things that you sent me there today. or I heard it on another channel. Daniel's visitation with his other two kids, like they're in the city in Halifax. So like he had to travel or they had to travel to him for him whenever he had visitation or was able to do something with them. So it's not like he could go to town 10 or 15 minutes away and pick up the two kids for a weekend that he had with his first wife. So by being that far away from his other two children, he might have seen and in his mind said, wait a minute, like my child is getting further away from me here. And like Charmaine says, I'm the one out here trying to find out and bring them home. But yet the own mother of the other two isn't speaking out here. And like I say, we're 7 weeks tomorrow. And I don't understand. Like I know I said from the start that if this is the situation, somebody's going to be culpable, liable, and there's still going to be, like, there's still charges for reporting false crimes. But like Sonny said earlier, let's bring the kids and make it about Jack and Lily. Get them home. We can deal with the fallout afterwards.
Green Girl, so it's not CPS, it's DCS. What's up with that? Just wondering. So CPS in Canada, at least the western part of Canada, I'm not familiar with the East Coast, but it's Child Protective Services. That's just what the agency here is called. DCS is the Department of Child Services. And as far as I'm aware, that's more of an American agency. But in Canada, it's Child Protective Services. That's what it's called.
And on the East Coast, it's actually called CAS, I think is the way they children. Okay. But like I say, I'm just mixing up my abbreviations there.
Yeah, well, Green Girl is saying it's DCS. What's up with that? Just wondering. And Department of Child Services, it's usually DCFS, Department of Child and Family Services, I believe is a United States agency. But our Canadian agency, at least on the West Coast, from, say, Saskatchewan on, we're Child Protective Services here. So that's why I always say CPS.
And I think it's Children's Aid Services here.
Potato. Children's Aid too, yeah.
Potato, tomato, tomato on that one.
Joe?
Nothing. So, you guys, what I'd like to do is go through this article, and then Belinda had sent me text between her and Daniel. So I'd like to get into that as well, okay?
Well, I'm going to get off and watch here, Sonny, in case I fall asleep, because it's now 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And I'll stay in the chat and whatnot, but thanks for asking me to come on tonight. And I'd like to say thank you for Derwood. And like I say, everybody, keep it up there for Jack and Lily, and let's bring them home.
Absolutely. Kent, thank you so much.
And
thank you for being a good friend for the channel. Appreciate that so much on there. Thank you so much, Kent. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so we'll go back down to Charmaine.
Lifesaver.
Do you got a Slurpee? Oh my God! Don't even. My husband bought. Yeah, kiss my ass on that one, okay? Because that's my favorite flavor, cream soda. But I always get a mix, but I can't.
Me too. Pepsi cream soda.
Right, but I can't. So I have to have a diet McCafe because diabetes.
I'm diabetic too. I just don't care.
I know. Every time I drive by the Slurpee place, I'm like, God dang! And that's why.
Some days you just need it. I don't drink alcohol. This is my food.
Yeah. Thank you, Kent. Thank you so much. Again, thank you to Derwin as well. Now, okay, so I want to go through this article that people are talking about. And then, like I said, Belinda sent me some messages between her and Daniel to share. And so, again, if Daniel seems to just want to start putting stuff out there, then good on him, to be honest with you. If there's anything at all that, like I said, that he's willing to share or that somebody's willing to share from the family, absolutely, right? Again, keep awareness out there. It helps definitely keep the internet active with the case and the sharing. And that's all you want. You just want to put pressure on there and stuff like that. So, okay. And thank you for anyone that's subscribing and new to the channel. Now, I am just going over a little bit of ground rules here. You're allowed to have your opinion. It can be different than ours. It can be different, whatever. As long as you're respectful in chat, everything is kosher. As long as you're respectful to anyone that's on the live, including myself. If not, you will get the big ass boot out of here. Okay, it's that simple. This is about caring about individuals, the missing and the murdered. It's not about arguments between people in chat. If you don't like what somebody's saying, just block them. Okay, if you don't like it. But other than that, we always keep this channel. It doesn't matter. I do not need your subscription at all. If it's just going to be someone that's causing drama and being ignorant. Okay, just let's make that clear. It will always be about the missing and the murdered and people caring about cases and caring about each other, even if your thoughts disagree. Okay, guys? So that's as much as we ask for on this channel. Mods, they know the rule, right? If you just can't be respectful, then you just don't belong in here. Go troll somebody else. But so anyone that comes to this knows that this channel is a very respectful channel, and it has great conversations that you guys create amongst yourselves and great theories and ideas and stuff like that. Even if it's off on a different planet, that theory doesn't matter. Your opinion is still your opinion regardless. Okay, so that's all we care about. Okay, so in saying that, we'll read this article. I brought it up. Thank you for the couple people, Belinda and also Dogs Karma, that had sent it as well. And then I just pulled it up on the internet here. So we'll go through this. So missing Nova Scotia children were assessed by Children Welfare Agency months before the disappearance. And again, it's by Halifax Globe and Mail here. So take it with whatever you want to take it with, grain of salt or more. Nova Scotia's Child Protection Agency investigated the living conditions of Jack and Lily Sullivan months before their mysterious disappearance from a rural part of the province in early May, a case file that has been reviewed by the minister responsible for child welfare. Scott Armstrong, Nova Scotia's Minister of Opportunities and Social Development, confirmed in an interview that the agency had a file on the children prior to the disappearance, but said it would be inappropriate for him to discuss the agency's finding. With Jack and Lily still missing and a police investigation underway, it's not the right time to dissect the agency's prior involvement, Mr. Armstrong said. We have no idea where those kids are, and we should be focused on helping them and finding them and supporting this family, he said. Asked whether a review has been ordered into the agency's prior interaction with the children, he said, as minister, I've seen a report. I'll talk to that. I've personally seen the report. I've asked for it, he said. I'm aware of how our department was involved in this. He added, I think we should be focused more on those kids than we are looking to blame somebody. Absolutely. Jack and Lily first, guys, right? Mr. Armstrong said that there may come a point to where the agency's involvement with the children is deserving of a more scrutiny, but now, 7 weeks into their disappearance, it is not. Daniel Martell, who is the common law relationship with the children's mother, which is obviously Malaya, Brooks Murray, was living with them when they went missing, told the Globe and Mail in an interview in May that a social worker with Child Protective Services, CPS, visited the home several months ago. The visit was prompted by concerns that had been relayed by someone at the children's school and related to their development delays, Mr. Martell said. The children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, said that she had no comment in relation to the CPS involvement with Lily and Jack. Mr. Martell said he had nothing to do with the children's disappearance and has nothing to hide. I'm keeping the story alive and keeping everyone's hopes up, not just my own, Mr. Martell told the Globe in May. He also said that Miss Brooks Murray had no involvement in the disappearance. I know Malaya has nothing to do with anything. Child welfare authorities investigate when a report of suspected abuse or neglect is received by the agency. In Nova Scotia, every person has a legal obligation to report concerns of suspected abuse or neglect of a child. The law stipulates that teachers and other child care workers have an added duty to report. The disappearance of Jack and Lily has prompted one of the largest ground searches in the province's history. Mrs. Brooks Murray told the police that Lily 6, Jack 4, wandered away from their home in Lansdowne on May 2nd while she and Mr. Martell, her then common law partner, was sleeping. Earlier that same morning at around 6:15 a.m., she reported both children would be absent absent from school. So we know that those times are 6:17 and 6:18 for Thursday and Friday, according to Mr. Martell. He told the Globe that Lily had a cough and Jack was kept home as a precaution. The RCMP's Major Crime Division, involved since day 2 of the search, has since seized electronic devices from the home, conducted polygraph tests, and analyzed hours of video footage from the road outside of the residence, and searched septic systems and abandoned mine shafts in the area. So far, the children appear to have disappeared without a trace. The division, whose primary role is to investigate foul play and homicides, has repeatedly said that there is no evidence to where that the children were abducted. The day after the children were reported missing, Miss Brooks Murray left her home in Lansdowne. She cut off contact with Mr. Martell and later changed her Facebook status to single. Nova Scotia and Ontario are the only 2 provinces without a a child and youth advocate. Both provinces rely on the provincial, I don't even know this word, ombudsman to impartially investigate complaints related to children welfare. However, those watchdogs are also responsible for reviewing many other agencies and departments. The role of the child and youth advocate is dedicated to advocating for and protecting the rights of children. The office may also review and investigate deaths or injuries of children receiving government services. More than a year ago, Nova Scotia's progressive conservative government introduced legislation to create a dedicated office that would be independent voice for the rights of children, but the initiative has not moved forward. Mr. Armstrong said he personally is committed to creating such an office and hopes to be able to share more details in the fall. The minister also said his department is taking steps to reduce the workload of child welfare, including recruitment efforts for new social workers and adding administrative roles to reduce paperwork done by the frontline employees. On Thursday, the province announced a reward up to 150,000 for anyone who comes forward with information about the missing children. Okay, so there's that. Charmaine, did you want to add anything to this particular topic? I know you kind of were talking about it already.
No. I mean, I'll save my thoughts about the child welfare agency in both countries, America and Canada.
Mm. Okay. Charmaine, I'm not sure if you've seen these earlier, but you probably might have been listening. So this is on Tuesday between Belinda and Malaya. And I'm just going to read this again for anyone that's maybe new into the chat. Again, me and Charmaine are out of BC, out of British Columbia on the West Coast side. We know that it's well late, 4 hours difference over there on the East Coast side, because this is happening in Nova Scotia in the Lansdowne Station area. Truro. No, not churros. What did I say that for? Pictou. Gonna pick my toe. Hi, Mark.
I would say that too.
Do you think that Mark?
Mark must have got paid today. I don't have any tacos yet, Mark.
1 second.
Just saying.
For bringing awareness for Jack and Lily. Right, heart emoji.
Thanks, Mark. Mark's a very loyal person to this channel. As you can see, Mark has a nice little wrench beside him. But Mark, thank you so much for that. And again, it's awareness is all we can do. Try to bring out the truth, and as family members talk and stuff like that. And awesome, to be honest with you. Again, you take the information with whatever you want to take it with, and then conclude your own decision on what you see before you. Okay, so thank you so much for doing that, Mark. And thank you again to Lily for giving those gifted memberships. I always like it when it gets paid forward like that. It helps the channel, obviously, and it gives people of course, membership so that they don't have to deal with the slow time, and they can use the emojis. They can use the hearts for Jack and Lily. So thank you guys so much for that. And Mark did that earlier. Oh, I know what I was going to say.
Oh, Mark, you're just getting paid today. Come on now.
Mark.
$9.99 you're awesome. Thank you. And having great guests.
Oh, thank you so much, Mark. I think Mark, did you win at playing poker this week? Because I knew.
I wasn't going to say that.
But I am, because I love, I always would play poker online before and stuff like that. playing those tournaments. I won quite a bit of money doing that, especially for my brother. He'd call me up and he'd be like, "Hey, I need to go to the hockey game. Can you take over my tournament?" So I'd be like shitting my pants a little bit because it's one thing if I'm doing it for myself. But honestly, I ended up taking first prize, and the time that he had asked me to do it that time, and I believe another one was like second prize on there. I think there was a few that he asked me to do, right? And I hadn't played for months, but I love Texas Hold'em, you know. Who am I kidding? I like bells and whistles. If you go to the casino sometimes and you see those bells and lights and whistles, that's me. I'm just like, oh my god, that thing's flashing at me. I can tell. Anyways, so or yeah, maybe by chance, Mark, that you won the Powerball over there. Anyways, thank you guys so much. Children Welfare Services, appreciate that. Okay, so Belinda says, Malaya, can I ask you a question? Why did you stop visiting the kids? I just thought you needed time to convince Daniel he had nothing to worry about. I remember you said he thought you were only coming because you wanted to see Cody. I don't understand because we invited him to. And then she goes on to say, he never wanted me to go, and I never knew why he was controlling. Why, and then Belinda says, why didn't you give us your address? We would gladly have come for visits. And she said, he never wanted me to give it. I never wanted to stay there. And, and Daniel, like I said, there's two sides to a story, right? Right. It's kind of like, right, when people divorce, you're the bad person. No, you're the bad person. But the truth always lies in the middle there. He never wanted to give it to give it. I never wanted to stay there. And then Belinda says, I really wish you would have reached out. We could have done what we could do to help on there. So, again, all this extra communication and stuff just gives us more insight of maybe where that truth really does lie. And if Daniel's fighting for the truth, to come out and stuff like that, then exactly, you got to keep fighting. Same with Derwood, but Derwood, he probably needs to take a few days to clear his thoughts and regroup. Sometimes, like, remember, I took a month off there. I just needed to rest from 5 years of doing true crime, and I just needed some time. Sometimes you just need it to yourself, right, Charmaine? You just need to take a break.
You
Yeah.
take your personal time, which, I mean, I'm such a friggin' hypocrite with this, but your brain needs time to reset. Especially, I don't know how old Derwood is, but I mean, I'd venture to guess he's my age or older. He's not a woman going through menopause, but I'm telling you, like, if I don't reset soon, I'm going to have a mental breakdown. It's just that someone's going to be over something stupid, like I haven't shaved my legs in 2 days, and I'm almost cried about it today.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? Yesterday, because I have been exhausted because I've been pushing myself too much, and I know I have, and I don't sleep well. Thank you, Joni, for that $4.99 super sticker. Waiting for the music to go off there. Should. But so when I woke up, my husband had a long day. My husband even didn't get home till about 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, somewhere in there, I remember. And I just I don't usually wake up grumpy, but I was feeling a little bit bitchy yesterday. So because my husband was tired and I was tired, I was like, and I'm a Cancer, so I'm very sensitive to words. So when my husband was just like, I was like, husband, what you doing? And he's just like, sitting here looking at the computer. I'm like, oh, aren't you just happy pants right now, right? Because I'm just, so instantly when I deem tone there or lack of tone, kind of like, well, missed you all day today too, husband, and so then so I'm, of course, well, aren't we a grumpy pants? And he's not, he's like, well, I'm not a grumpy pants, but if you want me to be a grumpy pants, I basically will. And I just went into the bathroom, and then I was like, come back out. And I'm like, husband, I'm sorry. I know you're tired, and I am too. For me to even do that is so rare. Like, meaning for me to wake up feeling grumpy, but like today I was just exhausted and I had to have a nap before I did any live today. I just had to. I could not have gotten through a live without a nap because just tired, right? And I know I don't have to push myself, but kind of like what Darwood said, or Derwood says, my bad. I keep on saying Darwood said Derwood. It's like, right? It's like, I don't know about you, Charmaine, on this one. and you guys in chat, but it's in my brain all the time, this case. It's
Mhm.
I'm trying to, put all the things that are being said together. I'm trying to make sense of stuff that doesn't make sense sometimes, and it's
I
just
was
in.
actually, I was thinking to myself last night because I was having like a serious hot flash, and I know that's too much information, but I was over it yesterday. This hot flash hit me, and all I could think was, I need Tom Webster. Like, I need Tom Webster in a spreadsheet to keep track of all of Daniel's interviews. And then, like, I literally started, like, I had to go to the bathroom. I started dry heaving. Like, I was just
Yeah.
over it. So it was nice today to actually not have to work on the house. And I was driving a lot, but it was just nice to get out in the sunshine and the air. But then when I realized I was going to be late, I was panicking again. And then Derwood came on, and I was like, God, I'm so disrespectful.
No.
We can move on. I apologize.
No, it was kind of one of those things. Is like, I'm trying to rush to get ready for the live. I hear that Derwood is on Clutch Them Pearls, and I'm like, I can't go listen. I don't have time. I need to get ready
I
for
was
the
listening,
live.
but he broke up really badly. And
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, he's a lot
to
clearer on
me,
here.
like, I understand where Derwood is coming from. Like, I
Yeah.
understand what Kent is saying about what Justin was doing, but I took it the same way that Derwood did. Like, he was being argumentative. He was asking a lot of questions without actually listening to what was being said. And then his phone was breaking up, and that didn't help either. Like, I don't mind Justin either. Like, I thought, I'll rephrase that. I think he has integrity I think he tries to do the right thing with cases. I do.
Well,
Anyways, move on. We've got our own stuff to cover. Let's just move on.
I was gonna say, I will just say this. That's kind of when I was upset a couple of weeks ago, is because, I've given his channel a shout out so many times, and he has said our channel's name before, and then he acted, or he basically didn't even seem to know who we were, and so as he was bringing up stuff, right as he's talking, I was kind of offended because I was like, because it's like he was dissing the information and us on the channel without having his facts straight, and he was just doing it then and there. I know that I don't think that, like, some people don't like him, and that's fine. But I think truly myself that he tries to do the right thing. Meaning I don't see this a hole or nothing like that. I see someone, but it's just because, those messages that we had in the different stuff were close to us. So obviously, if he hasn't done his homework and he's talking about it then and there on the live, right? And so, kind of like yesterday. So if he doesn't watch the channel, well, then sucks to be him, because he's missing out on some information he could have had and stuff like that. Because like I said, I'll watch him, no problem. But so in saying that, it's just kind of like, again, if you don't know what you're talking about when you're putting them information out, but you know it's kind of like DD when you're not doing your due diligence and stuff like that on stuff, right?
To me, this is the best communication tool. If you listen before you speak and then respectfully respond, you'll never go wrong.
Yeah.
As I interrupt you, that's perfect.
Like, so as for me personally, I don't care. Like I said, any information from the family, I don't really care what channel it's on. We're blessed that we've had family members talking on this channel, but it's, at the end of the day, a selfish person would care about that. Like, if I was selfish, but I'm not. But I do tag the things now, because this channel does deserve the recognition, instead of people using the information. All I want is respect, that when we put somebody on, we say, hey, this is from Justin's channel or this channel, and I just want the same appreciation back, knowing that we weren't getting it off those at first messages, in a sense, and people were just twisting shit and whatever. So now it's like, you know what? Keep Jack and Lily's name there. Keep our name right there. You obviously see Jack and Lily's name is brighter than Crime and Shame, the way it should be, because this is about Jack and Lily. Now, these are new messages, by the way, between Belinda and Danielle. And again, she's allowing me to share. And again, if Daniel wants the truth out there, just keep talking, okay? Keep talking. And same with, I want to say Derwood, but it's Derwood. Even though I know that's not his real name. But
The
anyway,
only thing that I would like to say to Daniel, though,
sure.
is
Just 1 second.
how do
Go
you
ahead.
put this? If you're gonna go into chat rooms and talk to people on YouTube,
Yeah.
You've got to know what your story is and stick to it. And I'm not saying because you've got, Derwood's probably right. You probably have so much information in your head, but when you're answering questions and you're putting stuff in and people are taking screenshots and stuff and you're saying something in that chat that your interview the day before said something different, they're going to attack it and they're on it. And you just have to know. And if you're not sure of something, just put "I think" or "I can't remember, but," or you know what I mean? Like you got to be super clear when you're not using your words or your voice and
Yeah.
you're texting. You got to be super clear because trust me, they took our conversation and
Oh,
fucking ran with it. Like unbelievable.
without the context behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and last night I was trying to ask questions, and I don't whether he saw him was ignoring them or not. I was trying to give you the opportunity just to clarify that one thing because I knew people were going to be all over it, and they were.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah. No, no, no. So let's we'll get on with this, guys. We know it's getting late there over on the East Coast side. Here on the West Coast side, it's still 8:14. I got time, and I got my 2 days off, Charmaine. 2 days, count them. 2 days. They go by
awesome.
fast, though. But anyways, okay. So I'm gonna make the screen bigger. I haven't even read. I've only read a few sentences in all of this. I believe it's in order, but if it's not, don't shoot the messenger. Um, I've been trying to put it together as I went from the start to the end. But anyways, we'll go through this conversation again. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you for the fight for Jack and Lily. That's what we want. Please hit that like and share button if you have not. Okay, so I'll make this bigger. I'll take us off. Okay, so let's see here. I told investigators. Uh, to polygraph her family, and they are. Have you mentioned this to the police? I work with detectives. So obviously, Daniel's in the black and Belinda's in the blue. Um, and then, okay, sorry. That's why this can't get out. Okay. Oh, well, it's out. Belinda said I could share it. If it does, then I lose my in with the investigators. What about Hayden? I'm not sure on that. One, I'd watch out. He used to be close to Malaya. Why no media standing up for Jack and Lily? Even the natives pulled back and don't want involvement. And then it says something about an interview yesterday, and then it says CBC, right? And Belinda says yes. Yeah, I did a set wait. I just did an on-set interview that was over an hour long with cameraman, producers, and interviewers. It's out Tuesday. Okay, so this is obviously um I'm not sure what actually date this was, but it's out on Tuesday, which came out. So this is previous conversation of that. Um, Again, I just kind of threw it up there, and I'm just reading it along here now too. I think after that comes out, the world will turn on Malaya. Let me go. Hold on, gotta go down. Whoops, right here. Let me just make sure on Malaya. Um, Malaya didn't want to be anywhere near Cody. She was afraid to even drive anywhere close even. Don't worry, I have a guy on the inside now. I can't say more than that because evidence is mounting. The only problem is it's going to be hard for someone to give up the kid's location. The amount of jail time for this would be unheard of. Don't say anything to anyone about this conversation. Hmm. Okay. Yes. Okay, so he's on. Okay, so apparently, okay, so Belinda had said yes to this, so I'm going with it. I'm going with it about Jack and Lily. So whatever, YOLO, YOLO. Okay, I won't, but that doesn't make sense because Cody didn't live here. He was in Truro. He's only moved back 10 months ago. She was afraid that she would be there, and he would know. Sorry, she was afraid that she would be there and he would show up. I'm being honest. During the time he even lived in Cape Breton. During that time, sorry, my bad. Yes, but look who Malaya is. I think we finally know that her and her family are a little crazy. Maybe more than a little. Okay. He had no interest in her or the kids, sadly. Um, Whoops, sorry guys. I know, but Malaya's whole life has been nothing but negative. She found me, then she was happy. But Cindy didn't like seeing her daughter happy. Now look at this mess. Lily and Jack are innocent and okay. Where did it leave off? And they never deserve this. Breaks my heart. The last time she was here with the kids, she told us that you weren't happy about it. So we told her to bring you along if that would help. And then Daniel says, do you think Malaya was a trustworthy person? At this point, I would not trust a word out of her mouth. You see her fighting. You see her fighting for Jack and Lily. I think that's supposed to be do you. Her family has been saying fucked up shit to CPS. That's why I can't see Meadow. Um, Malaya and her family have done so much wrong, and not to Jack and Lily, but to everyone. They are giving supervised visits, though now she never always spoke to the truth, but I really thought she was a good mom. So this is Belinda. I don't know when it changed. I raised Jack and Lily. I potty trained them. I played outside with them. I taught the kids how to zipper their coats. I did it all. She played on her phone all day. She doesn't know how to raise kids. Um, okay. The kids used to hit and bite her, and scratch her. She had no control over them. Belinda says, well, that part sounds about right. I can see the kids acting out on her. I know a lot of moms who let their kids get away with too much. No, no, she had zero control over them. I raised Lily and Jack. They just see her as the girl that makes food for them. I know this sounds bad, but I'm being honest. I don't lie. It hurts when I tell the truth, but I can't lie because that's all the world is nowadays. People can judge me all they want, but I just like being honest. And that's okay. So that was the messages. Um, okay. So, um, on that one. So, so, Shermane, hmm,
Yeah.
thoughts?
What up?
The sky.
You know what? I don't have a whole lot of thoughts with this because my internet is glitching in and out. So I caught maybe 10% of that.
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
Am I
Um,
frozen now?
no problem. Do you want me just to send them over to you? Do you want me just to send them to
Yeah.
you? Okay. On there. At the end of the day, um, regardless, uh, this is about Jack and Lily. And sorry, Charmaine, send. Okay. I sent them to you. And if you go to the very first one, Charmaine, like meaning the first one should be I told investigators, and then it just goes backwards from there. Okay. Daniel's comments to Belinda. Okay. Um, Again, you
So
guys.
I'm. So did she ask that he knows that this stuff is coming out?
Sorry.
Does he know that this stuff is coming out?
No idea. I just asked her. All I ever ask her is if I can share it, and she always says yes.
Yeah.
Almost everything, because at the end of the day, Daniel's speaking. I think she said basically, you know what, Daniel's speaking up on Dolly, and this information was before the interview on this. So so probably it's because of the fact of the stuff that he's saying on Dolly, is clearly why she said yes. But so at the end of the day, again, it's about Jack and Lily, and if he shouldn't say anything if he doesn't want stuff to get out there, regardless. But he seems to want to put in the information out there. And again, if you know something, investigators are only going to tell him so much, regardless. Detectives, okay? At the end, he seems to have this feeling that that the children are being hidden by Malaya, and that other people helped her in a sense, and that it seems like I said, this is before, but I mean, you clearly see what he's saying is like, regardless, is that I have done this for the kids. I'm the one fighting. Basically, what the heck is she doing? She's not coming out. She's not dealing with the media. I believe that there's a family involvement with this going on, which we knew from the other messages and stuff like that. So,
but my thing is with him and like his reaction to the reaction of our conversation.
correct.
Like, take it down. You're putting Malaya in a negative light, whatever he said there. And then he went on the news, stopped attacking Malaya.
Right.
And everybody still to this day thinks that Daniel is trying to protect Malaya. But I struggle to find anywhere where he said anything positive about Malaya. So if
This is true.
if from day one he hasn't been trying to paint Malaya in a negative light, then just facts are the facts, guys. He's doing a terrible job at that part of it because he hasn't said one positive thing publicly about Malaya. We heard him be compassionate about her mental health. He did not blackmail or say anything of the sort about what she may or may not do to Meadow because of her mental health. He said that her mental health and all of the attacks would reflect on her ability to raise his daughter Meadow, is what he said. But he's not saying anything positive about her, and he hasn't to this platform.
Maybe he's going about it in a sense the wrong way, because clearly he loves Malaya. That's been clear to me.
And he's hurt and frustrated and angry, and I get that, but you can't say all of these things and then be upset when Malaya is being painted in a negative light by the words he chooses to use.
Correct. I think it's clear, like, we're not no psychologists or doctors, but, just from the conversations, it clearly seems like Malaya has some mental health issues going on, and she probably does,
Clearly.
It's no different than Clarabelle's mom, Clarabelle's mom, definitely someone that's struggling at the end of the day. Again, if the children are out there, regardless, and Malaya, if you have anything at all to do with the disappearance of your children, just bring them back. Take accountability if you do. Bring them back. Everyone just wants Jack and Lily back. Obviously, if you've done something or made a mistake and it went too far and stuff like that, again, you got to take the wounds and lick them and just take accountability for it, right? If they are out there, just bring them back, right? Like, don't make it any worse. Just make it better,
And if they are alive and they're out there just being hidden, then like I said before, the consequences are not going to be that severe. But the longer it goes, the worse it gets.
Absolutely.
And you're right, Rita, that could have something to do with it, for sure.
Which one? Oh, there's hi Chelsea or Chelsea. Now I'm calling her Chelsea because Belinda. Because I told Belinda this one day. I was like, I called her Chelsea. But then when I was listening to it all, there was a point where I called her Chelsea. My bad, Chelsea. My bad. That was Charmaine made me say that way. So Chelsea Gray
What?
is a yes. Charmaine, just take it. Okay. Sometimes you just have to say your
My
soul.
bad.
My bad.
She
um,
listens to every word I say. She does everything that I tell her to do. My bad.
I'm a puppet. So
Mhm.
Chelsea Gray obviously is Belinda Gray's daughter. Okay, so welcome Chelsea, and she says, and this is what Daniel said weeks ago, right after they were interviewed. Let's see here. See what everyone's. Sorry guys, it is a little hard to keep up with chat. A little bit going on. Oops, there we go. Thank you guys again all for being here. If you haven't hit the like and share button, please do. Do it always for the sake of the missing and the murdered. That's where it counts. Um, hey Brenda, how are you doing? To all the true oh, let's read this one. I like stuff like this. To all the true and genuine hearts and souls, especially those who are strong enough to ignore the drama and negativity that comes about. Jack and Lily, welcome back alive and safe. Fingers crossed, times three. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, honestly, I would love nothing more. I know you guys would too, that there's a miracle and a happy ending to this case. And, we don't know what the true answer is. Just take the information as it comes in and just try to bring awareness to the case, put pressure, just keep putting on the pressure out there. The truth will come out, and we know that there's I mean, um, obviously, what do you think about the 150K reward that came out today?
Oh well, I mean, obviously, I think that it speaks volumes as to where the RCMP are in their investigation. I think they're stumped, and I think that depending on the population and money talks, it could push somebody to say something that they've been holding off for whatever reason. But like, I just find it so hard to believe that if somebody had actual factual information, why would they go this far to protect that? Because now Malaya is gone. She's out. She's out of there. There's no reason for this to continue, knowing that the consequences are getting worse by the minute. So I wish I had the hope that y'all have. I'm sorry. I
Well,
just don't.
yeah, I know. I mean, everyone has their own thoughts on this. I will always try to like kind of like Sebastian Rogers' case. If I can see that the glass is half full, and I know, Charmaine, like, I know how things typically go and blah blah blah, but you know, again, Claire Bell's um finding Claire Bell yesterday, that was an amazing miracle and stuff like
Huge miracle.
that. So, again, if Daniel, again, just speak your truth, okay? Don't go from A to Z to, Q to R to D to whatever. Just go A to Z. Simple as that. Put out the truth about that day as best as you can. Be consistent in what you're saying, and honestly, do what Derwood did. You know what? You want to hop on the live? Come and hop on the live. I hope, regardless, that Daniel, at the end of the day, again, if he's fighting for Jack and Lily, they have to come first. They come before Malaya. They come before anyone. The law will deal with anyone that has anything to do with the disappearance, regardless of Jack and Lily. But again, if there's the truth to be told, then just put out the truth as best as you can. And, if you want to keep the case out there in the public, the best way to do it is keep talking. Keep talking. I don't care what the RCMP say on this stuff, okay? They have their things that they do. Um, to be honest with you, uh, and me and Charmaine have talked about this, of course, and you guys probably the same thing, is they don't the police and LE and RCMP, they don't realize what a gold nugget that having a true crime community, work in tandem with them to put out information, and the abundance of people that are so smart that are that follow true crime, that have their own skill sets, to sleuth out, are really good. So they can use that, keeping it close to the vest and investigative crap all they want. Sorry, RCMP, it's not like I don't love you. I do. But I think that everyone has their place in life in a sense, and the internet is a force to be reckoned with now. It's not going away. And yes, there it's shitty that, some channels and stuff like that, maybe
Be
what
right
you go ahead. I'll be right back. Okay. Hi, Phyllis fans. Anyways, bottom line is, I think that there's a place where true crime can work with the LE out of the, across the world and stuff like that, because we can make things happen very, 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 very fast. But we know that wrong information gets put out there as well. Again, we just want to put out the facts. And if we have said something wrong, we'll retract it back. I'm so glad for Belinda, Daniel, uh, Derwood. Um, Daphne's only came out the once, really, or in a post and stuff like that. Logan, Mackenzie, the cousin to Daniel, and a couple Brooks people have said something, but I don't believe what they were saying, unfortunately, because I don't believe Daniel was gone for 3 hours and they wouldn't know if he passed a polygraph test. So that leads me right away to not believe in that information. But hey, the Brooks family do want to come out, Malaya. If you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily, just stop, end it, right? Just end it, and let anything that somebody deserves with the disappearance of the kids. You have to take accountability for that. That's what happens in life. Anyways, let's see here. I sadly think the two babies are gone. Just in my version, I pray that I'm wrong. Absolutely, right? Everyone wants the best outcome, but everyone's being realistic as well. We don't know the truth. The truth is the best that we're hearing about it. And again, always be grateful when family is speaking for the information. It gives you more insight. And it's so different than Sebastian's case with Sebastian Rogers and Christopher and Katie Proudfoot, right? You have Seth Rogers who's fighting, to find his son. And then you got this, weird thing going on with the mother and the stepdad of that case. And yet we don't know what happened to Sebastian Rogers. No one's been charged. Nobody's been charged in this case either. We don't truly know what happened. And hopefully, Jack and Lily do come. Like, I just pray that they're safe. I would, like, seriously. You want me to cartwheel around from Western Canada? Well, it ain't gonna happen probably, so I better not make that promise. But I'll cartwheel once in my bedroom, perhaps. That's Go ahead.
So when I was driving home, I believe this was the point that Derwood spoke about. Somebody mentioned the sweaters comment.
Yeah, the sweaters. Yeah,
I didn't hear what he said, and I would like to talk about that because that troubles me. Can we talk about that, please?
we can talk about that, but I'm not gonna lie. I have half a brain cell right now. So what? So
remember what he said? What Derwood said?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
Partially. I'd have to go back and hear it. So in all fairness, right? When he was talking about that, I was listening, and in my head I was a little still confused, but it was, and you guys can help me out here, anyone that was listening fully, because I was trying. So apparently she had taken 2 sweaters.
So when he was at the command center, he said that Malaya's family took 2 of his sweaters. And then afterwards, he made a comment about, now watch when the investigation is done, my sweaters will be found with the kids, basically, is what he said. It was like, whoa, what? What did he say? And this is one of the things that I was talking about, Daniel, that you have to be really careful, because that taken out of context is weird. Is weird. And I'd love to know what Derwood had to say about that, and how he realized that Malaya's family took 2 of his sweaters. You know what I mean? Like, I just want more information.
Right. I mean, because obviously, Daniel would have been telling him about that. And to be honest with you, Charmaine, I would literally have to go back to our live and play it, because in my head, I think I was trying to do something at the same time. And so I was listening, but by the same token, I know I was doing something or whatever. And so I wanted to go. Just like you brought that up, I actually really wanted to go revisit that part of the live because I wanted to make sure I was understanding what I was hearing on that one. So if you want, I could probably, go find that part of the live and replay it if you like. But
No, I don't think I'll lose sleep about it tonight. Like last night,
okay,
that part is what really got me going with my hot flash and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, that little bit
that little
really
bit.
got me like, what the heck? But we can talk about it tomorrow after we've both had a chance
I
to
was
listen
gonna
to
say,
what Derwood.
I do like it's kind of like there's a lot of information coming out. I was just letting him speak, and
Yep.
talk with with the intent of going back, um, with the intent of going back to listen to it again, just because I wanted to fully absorb it. So when you just asked that, I was like, oh shit, that's a
Yeah.
part that I still wanted to go back to myself on that.
And
So
I
yeah,
know that what did Derwood say about that blanket? That it was, I think he was getting, I could be wrong, but I think he was getting at that the blanket was just an old piece of blanket that was in the
correct,
garbage, and it could have been planted there, but it also could have just landed there
right.
before, like beforehand,
You
because
know, and
there's no there's no evidence or whatever information to
oh
lead
yeah,
us to believe
Kent.
that they can.
Kent says, yeah, Kent, just use the link and come back on. I know Kent will exactly know exactly, like he'll be able to say it so much better than I could right now. Come on,
Okay.
you get it. You back up here, Kent. Hi, Kenny. Want to thank you. Thank you, Kenny.
Super chat. 10 Canadian dollars. You're awesome.
Uh,
Thank you.
that's my brother's name, by the way. Kenny, Kenneth, Kenny. Oh, there's Ben. Hey, husband. Hey, internet husband. How are you? Nice to see ya. Hi, Rena. But Kent, just use the link that I sent you, and you can come back up. Uh, let's see here. Oh, uh, oh, I hear him. I hear him. Wait, turn your camera off, Kent. You got your camera on. Kent, put your avatar on. Perfect. Okay, there we go.
So,
Go ahead.
Charmaine, what he was saying there, or the way that I took it, is remember how the water bottle and the two shirts, and there was another item of clothing. I can't remember what it was, but they were found by the searchers in the woods. And this was early on. And what Derwood said is Daniel believed that either Malaya took them and gave them to them, or when the family was there, the family had took them and put them in the woods, as well as the single footprint, which was located on the pipeline, because if it was actual footprints from the kids, there should, even if it was only one kid that was there, there should be two footprints. But it was a single footprint. And Daniel said that he told the RCMP right away when they were going through searching the house. Daniel said, I find it strange that these items are missing from the house. That's before they were found. So
Okay, but
then the searchers went in the woods and found those shirts and found that water bottle. And I remember in one of the interviews, Daniel saying that that stuff wasn't really related to the kids. He didn't know where it come from. But Derwood was saying he was now thinking that that side of the family, whoever the helpers were, took that stuff to plant either on the kids down the road or at least in the woods to make it look like it was bad on Daniel.
Yeah, but he said, that's not what he said. Her family took 2 of my sweaters when they left. Watch them be planted when the investigators close in. So that means that the sweaters he's referring to haven't been found.
Well, I took it as Derwood was saying that those were the 2 sweaters that were found in the woods. Like that was day 4 or day 5 of the search that they found that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and if that's what Derwood said, I get that's where he's going, but that's not what Daniel said last night. He said her family took 2 of my sweaters when they left. Watch them be planted when investigators close in.
Oh,
His
Daniel
words.
sweaters.
Yes, his words.
Oh, well, no,
Daniel.
see, that's a different story. Derwood was talking about the kids' sweaters.
Okay.
I thought.
No, he was talking about Daniel's sweaters.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the kids' sweaters because if you go up back, like where they showed that little wigwam, and then they had that other fort that looked like a playpen, and people were saying, "Oh, what do they do? Throw them in there and just let them, like, don't let them out because they wouldn't be able to climb over the walls of it, but it's their fort, right?" But just back beyond that, on the 3rd or the 4th day of the search, they found children's clothing in a water bottle, and that's what I thought Derwood was talking about. But if he's talking Daniel's shirts, like you say, Charmaine, that's
what
probably
those
to.
are his words. That I read the screenshot. Those are his words. And yes, Renegale, he did clarify that they were not hoodies. And then he also clarified, because somebody said, well, how did they get your sweaters? How do you know? And he said, well, I was down at the command center and they had time to go in and grab them. But he never did say how he knew that those sweaters, obviously he'd probably know that sweaters were missing and he might have assumed that they took them. But he said, watch now, they'll be planted when the investigators close in.
I can see that.
I mean, that's just another example of what I was trying to get across to Daniel, that you have to be very careful what you're typing, because if those are your words and you don't lie, explain more. Just.
And that came out last night on the Dolly comments, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'll send it to you, Kent. Vanessa, Daniel last night was in Dolly Vision's chat room during his live stream.
Yeah, so if that, like I say, for him to say that, I don't think Daniel would have said that 5 weeks ago, but I can see him saying that last night. Because I think from what Derwood is telling us, he's fed up with the situation and realizing that whatever he had with Malaya is probably over.
Oh, he's probably right angry. And like I said before, it's probably got a lot to do with the fact that she's just disappeared. He doesn't have an explanation why she left, and why is he holding the bag looking for her biological kids, who he loves. I understand that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to send it to you right now, Kent, so you can see what I am talking about.
Yeah, I read the other ones that you had sent me. I just didn't see that, that's all. But yeah, no, that makes sense, is that. But I really like to know a little bit more about Malaya getting caught after pawning these kids off, and her turning around or whatever, and Jeannie, Daniel's mom, catching her at the end of the driveway. Like, can you imagine if you were doing something like this and you weren't if it was me, I'd have a heart attack. Like if I was trying to plan something and it was going good, and then all of a sudden I turned around and my mother-in-law's there, I'd say, "Oh, frig."
Charmaine, sorry, 1 second count. Charmaine, what were you saying to me?
But anyways, I just thought you were talking about the children's
Nothing.
shirts and water bottle. But
No, I sent you those two screenshots there, Kent, just so you can see what he said. Tammy, thank you. I'm feeling okay today, but I'm wondering like what makes you think I'm not? Do I look like I'm in menopause or something? Like what's going on? What's happening? Should I turn my camera off? Am I making everybody uncomfortable?
1 second here. Come on. What is wrong with you?
Yes, I mean, it's all taken out of context, right? Because Dolly was behind in chat because there was like 1,400 people and the chat was speeding by. He ended up putting it as members only, and then he made Daniel a mod so that he could follow his comments easier. But at the beginning, it was super hard for Dolly to keep up. And so Dolly would ask a question and chat was asking questions. So Daniel was answering, but then there's the delay and Dolly was getting all mixed up. And I mean, it was an absolute mess, but just some of when you cherry pick those comments all on their own, they're just like, what is he saying right now? And that's my message to Daniel. Like, you just can't do that. You're better off just to call them and use your words so that they can't be misconstrued.
Where'd Kent go?
I'm not sure. Probably to bed.
He said, yeah, I see what you're talking about now. I lost the feed, but yeah, he definitely states that. I was trying, as I was doing whatever, I was trying to find the part of the live, but it's hard because I'm hearing you guys talk and I'm trying to listen to the live.
Yeah,
and it was like, it was, if I had my iPad maybe and then turn this down. Yeah, unless someone in chat knows what timestamp it was at.
Mark actually he watched that whole Dolly thing. I fell asleep, and I don't even think I told him I was dozing off, but I woke up to a few updates, so that was nice.
Ben, wait. Let me see, Sunny. What did you do to Joseph Morris? He gave the channel a big shout out talking about us. He even actually said your name properly, Charmaine, and mine. And on there,
did he?
Yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
I'm honored. That was so nice of him. Are we friends with him now?
Yeah. Are we? We're going to have forgiveness from before. Because I was very upset about that. That was to do with the Brian Cobra.
Me too.
Yeah.
The Idaho 4. That was not good. That was rotten, yeah. Mr. Rotten.
Yeah, and he pinned the channel name. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he can come back and stay in Canada now. Okay. I put him to Exile Island there for a bit.
Why can't he see his other kids? So I think, personally, I believe, speculation, but I believe that Daniel can't see any of his kids because of abuse allegations. And now if there was previous CPS, that could be enough weight to order supervised visits for all of the kids. Until this situation is sorted out, you know what I mean? Like they'll have to go to court for custody issues. He might be ordered to take some kind of counseling or some kind of parenting courses, or there might be some mandated remedies that he'll have to do in order to have unsupervised visits or just time. But this is kind of let's just protect all the kids. That's just my opinion.
Just a question, because when we were reading that article, right? Because one of the things I said near the start, because I thought it was a joke for someone to say that they have possible autism. And I said, well, basically to say that, well, maybe their school attendance wasn't that great. And, I wouldn't be shocked about that. But obviously, if their school attendance probably isn't that great, because it was kind of referencing like that the school, if the school felt like the kids were falling behind, kind of like that seemed to reference a little bit, like that they were having, what's the word I want to use? Learning disabilities in a sense, because maybe they're spending more time at home than they should be. Um, I mean, because that would be something that they would be like, see, the teachers would be like worried if the kids' attendance records aren't on point, and that they're missing a lot more days than they should be, and that they're having difficulty keeping up, stuff like that. That's kind of what that thing seemed to imply a bit, um, about that in that article. Do you think?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I
absolutely.
mean, at the end of the day, again, this is about Jack and Lily. Whatever, whoever is involved in the disappearance of Jack and Lily, like I said, may you reap what you sow. If you had any involvement of the disappearance of Jack and Lily whatsoever, you know, just take accountability for it, at the end of the day, because it is about Jack and Lily. And, whatever CPS stuff is going on, or whatever, wherever the truth lies to what Daniel's saying, or what Malaya's saying and stuff like that, and everyone just simply wants the truth. So, again, you got to be accountable for your words if you speak them, right? If you say them,
Yes,
and you
be
have them
more just
in.
my advice, absolutely. And even with me, a telephone conversation would be so much better for you, so much better for you, because like Derwood said, Daniel's got so much information in his head, it can get mixed up. And when you're answering something that was asked 5 minutes ago and it pops up 7 minutes later, and there's been 100 questions since, and it just gets taken out of context.
Yeah. Um,
And it, especially with
Go ahead,
the
Sheree.
problem with mine, like when my conversation was put out there, was that people weren't listening to the live. They were just taking the screenshots and putting their own context to them. Had they listened, they would know that I didn't want to put out all of my, and you guys know now why I didn't want to put all that out, because I wanted to explain why I was going to ask what I was going to ask, and it turned out to be way too long. But because they didn't have the context, they were able to twist things and run with it and dissect it in a way that I never intended or even considered would happen. I didn't know people could be that stupid, to be honest with you. But phone people. You don't even have to go on a live. You can call Sunny over Facebook Messenger, just like Derwood did, or call Dolly Vision, his call-in number, whatever. Just
Yeah. Well, I want to say this, if you don't, for a second, Charmaine. Um, but Linda says, I don't understand why Daniel just doesn't say everything he knows about the kids. Screw the police, um, till they are found. Um, and then she says, basically, to Malaya's, Patty's second cousin, or whoever. I'm all confused on that one now. Grandmother is Patty to Malaya. Uh, Derwin's like the cousin over to the side there. Um, and basically say, hey, like I said, whatever you know, make sure that the police know all that information. This is about Jack and Lily. And that's the bottom line. If anyone knows anything about these kids, report the findings. It's about Jack and Lily. Simple as
mm-hmm.
that. And we all know that people, when they hear conversations on lives and stuff like that, their little butts are there reporting to to the RCMP and stuff like that. Bottom line is, right, they put out a they put out a reward of 150K. Why? They need the public's help, right? They need somebody to come forward. So if you have any knowledge, any information at all in the disappearance of Jack and Lily, do the right thing. Please do the right thing. If you're a parent, You will understand exactly what these family members are going through, and everyone just wants Jack and Lily back. But if you know something, say something, you know, and because sometimes people just don't want to involve themselves. Remember, you can do it anonymously through Crime Stoppers. That number is going around at the very bottom there, 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 8477. Other than that, that's Belinda. Like, she's here to fight for Jack and Lily. And I know that uh, Derwood as well. You can see the passion. He's keeping him up at night because he's like a truth buster himself. And if Daniel is a truth buster, you know what, Daniel, just speak your mind, speak your piece. But you know what? I would suggest you should honestly, and you don't have to pick this channel, of course, but if you do, hey, then we'd love to have you up here. But I would say do it up on a live like this where you are clearly saying your words. There's not all this mishmash of screenshots and stuff like that, right? You're just saying your piece, saying what you know. If the fight truly is for Jack and Lily, just put the truth out there as best as you can and do it from point A to point Z, right? About the day and stuff like that. This ain't gonna, I don't care what you say, this ain't gonna ruin no investigation. What's going to ruin the investigation is some information that obviously, say, maybe only an abductor would know and stuff like that. But anyways, my thing is, I would fight tooth and nail for my child, and I wouldn't give a shit what anyone says, right? I'm the mother. I'm going to fight for my kid. I will die for my kid, and I will fight for my kid. And I would expect that Malaya, if she has no involvement whatsoever, you get your ass back to the forefront. And if you have a different type of truth than what you say, you make sure that your whole story and if you're lying, admit to it, be accountable, tell them the truth will come out regardless. From your lips to God's ears. Anyways, I got to preach it on that one. It's just, uh, you know, when cases take hold of my heart like this, and I know that everyone knows by Belinda's interview, there, there wasn't almost one sobbing person that didn't feel in their heart of hearts the sadness um, as she struggles to find out what happened to Jacqueline Lee. Again, hit the like and share button. You guys, by the way, have done amazing for doing that on this live stream. We're at 541 likes, guys. We got 8,626 views at the moment. Please just do your little part. Bing. Put your DNA on there and do that part. Alicia, can't I send it, please? Okay, so honestly, I don't really have much more to say besides I'm going to go back and listen to what Derwood said. Why do I want to say Darwood all of a sudden? I don't know why. But anyways, is there anything else, Charmaine, that you want to talk about? You're probably tired. It's been a long day for you as well, and everybody. You froze?
My internet is absolutely crap today. I don't know if I'm glitching out, but
You're okay.
I know you did the last like 2 minutes. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I was just basically.
So I'm good to go. I'm tired and I want to re-listen.
Yeah. I'll do a live tomorrow. I don't have to work, so I'll do it earlier. I'm not sure what Charmaine's up to or Kent's up to or whatever, but we'll do a live tomorrow. Now, Lauren, I had asked her to come on if she wanted to tonight. I know things went. She was in chat. I did send her the link, but she's probably one of those people that kind of just know like when something important's going on. She knows perhaps when to go. Hey, you know what? I'll just sit back here and let you guys do your thing tonight because there has been a lot of definitely information and different stuff going on. Weed through it. It's about the fight is for Jack and Lily. That's what we care about. Again, anyone that's got involvement, they'll reap what they sow. When the timing is right. And just if anyone out there that knows something that happened to these kids, please just have a heart, come forward, bring information. Again, do it for the children, especially if you have children yourself. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Simple as that. So, with that being Mark, member for 1 month, like and subscribe and share, please. Actually, absolutely. I was just about to do this. Mark, you gifted one membership to someone today again. Um, Jules became a member. Thank you very much for that. Lily gifted 5 memberships. Charmaine's always been a membership queen, gifting out memberships many times over the course of the last, I don't know, like year and a half, 2 years, or whatever it's been. Um, and so I like to think of that as paying it forward. It helps the channel. 2 years. Are you holding up your fingers? Because you were lagging there for a sec on there. Um,
Oh,
so
I'm lagging constantly.
yeah, it's okay. We're gonna get going there in a minute. So again, um, when you get a membership, it's like I said, paying it forward to somebody. So appreciate that for the people. Thank you, Lily, for doing that. Kind Mark obviously won a poker tournament, and he's like, Sonny, I love you and Charmaine and the guests. And Mark did another one right behind it for $9.99. Appreciate that whatsoever. Again, if you do enjoy watching this channel, we are about truth and facts. And then speculations is on to the side of that, but always trying to put out the information. Doesn't mean that you have to believe all the information, of course, but if the family's speaking, listen, listen, listen and learn. And then do with the information really what you will. Um, anyways, so with that being said, appreciate all your guys' love and support. Thank you again for hitting all those likes and shares. It truly does help out the family. It's really nice to see. Again, more people coming out of the woodwork. It's a fight for Jack and Lily. That's where we'll leave it. Okay, so I'll do a live tomorrow. Can't say exactly what time, but I'll do it sooner. Probably more around the 2 o'clock mark area, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. We'll see how the day goes. Probably in that area, though. Okay. So, Shameen, any last words before we head off? And thank you, guys.
Not at all. Just thanks to everybody and Kent and Derwood, and thanks for having me again, Sunny, and thanks for everybody in chat being super cool. And for like in Facebook groups and stuff, there are still people taking up for us, and I see you and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, I barely enter the Facebook group things and all that stuff. And I'm going to give a shout out to Lana King. She's the one that held the vigil. I'm going to give a shout out to Lana because she's fighting for the justice for the kids just as strong and stuff like that. She doesn't have a YouTube channel. She does her stuff on her Facebook and stuff like that. Ben, internet husband, great to see you. As always, thank you, mods. Thank you for everyone again. Always in this channel, you can have your opinions, just keep it respectful. I'm just going to quickly look at what Kent sent me. Let's see here. I just see a message. I just want to see. What's he showing me? Oh, the morning show. Okay. Uh, Okay, so I'll just take this down for a second, and I'll just quickly pull this up. So Kent wanted he was telling me about this morning show. Oh, the True Crime Cafe with Dago. Okay, okay, you called him the dog or something. I know this channel. I don't watch it, but I think I've watched it once. They cover the Brian Koberger case and stuff like that. So anyways, I do know of this channel. It's called again the True Crime Cafe with Dago. That's the channel that I was talking about that played your whole section from last night. At the end of the day, right? Again, right? I want people to share the live and share the information because that's what makes it great. Is actually when creators can work together. And I don't care. Like I said, I'm not going to copyright strike anybody. Even if you shit talking me, I'm not going to copyright strike you. Not if it's about bringing awareness to Jack and Lily's case. So again, to creators, use what you want and just be respectful and give the channel at least a shout out from where you got it from. And other than that, it's just honestly about Jack and Lily. Even if you don't, it's about Jack and Lily. Okay, Missy, we good for tonight?
You're good.
Yeah, on there. Let me just. Oh, I'm on my own thing. 1 second here. I'll just let me just quickly drop that. I'll drop that link for the channel for this one here. If you guys do want to go listen to it, True Crime there with Dago. Cafe, True Crime Cafe with Dago on there. Again, oh, another shout out to Joseph Morris. I know you were in my little ship books a while back, with the whole Koberger thing and stuff like that. But in saying that, um, thank you so much for bringing awareness to the case, to the channel. We are Canadian and on this side of the fence, but it's good that Dolly on his side, on the USA side, to get the coverage as well. So, Jack and Lily. Okay, guys? All right. Have a good night, guys. We're out of here for tonight. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Oh, like and share.
A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's holy light. Without an honor, we stand and fight. I know